Okay, I'm now going to talk about the Tamer kit, every single skill in the Tamer kit. First, I will talk about the main skills. Then I will talk about the skill enhancements, also known as the Rabam skills. And then lastly, I will talk about the awakening skills. So in the main hand skill, the Preawakening skills, we have the first skill we have is Leaf Slash, and Leaf Slash is basically the auto attack or the basic attack in the Tamer ability, Tamer kit. And to activate the skill, you can use it by pressing L and B or W L and B, like this. So L and B, L or W L and B. And and the Tamer kit, Leaf Slash does not serve much of a purpose um, past the super early game because it just doesn't do that much damage, and it doesn't have any kind of protection or any kind of buffs and debuffs. Early on in your when you're playing Tamer, when you're just starting, you can actually use this skill to recover stamina because it does recover stamina every time you hit. Um, However, later on, when you get more familiar with Tamer, you'll find out that Tamer has better ways to recover stamina, and you just won't use the skill to recover stamina anymore, and it just becomes an obsolete skill, so you just don't use it. So yeah, that's Leap Slash. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about the Flash tree or the Flash skill tree. In the Flash skill tree, we have Flash, Flash Pearl Thrust, Flash Dance Shift, and we have Sharpening Claw. So I'm gonna lock these skills so that I can show it to you one at a time. So to activate Flash, you hold down S, L, and B like this. So that's Flash. And now I'm going to show you guys Flash Pearl Thrust. And to use Flash Pearl Thrust, you keep holding down L and B after using Flash. So like this. And now we have Flash Dance Shift. And to use Flash Dance Shift, just keep holding down S, L, and B as well after using Flash Pearl Thrust. And it's going to look like this. So the Flash Tree, it does an okay amount of damage considering that it's a pre-awakened skill. So you can use it at the beginning of a combo, and that it actually does a really nice job of that because if you look at Flash Pearl Thrust, it has magic DP minus 15 for 10 seconds, and if you put the skill add-on, you can go up to minus 30 because you can get minus 15 from your skill add-on. So it makes this a really good skill for debuffing your enemy at the start of a combo. And if you look at Sharpening Claw, it has Magic AP plus 10 for 10 seconds and OAP minus 12 for 10 seconds for your enemy. So you can basically buff yourself by 10 Magic AP, debuff your enemy by minus 30 AP, minus 30 DP, and also minus 12 AP for your enemy as well, which makes the Flash skill really good to use at the start of a combo. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about Bolt Wave and Tilt Wave, which are the next skill that comes after the Flash skills. So Bolt Wave can be activated by pressing Shift L and B. So it's gonna look like this, or like that. That's Bolt. And then Tilt Wave can be used after Bolt Wave by holding down Shift L and B as well. So it's gonna look like this. So that second hit was Tilt Wave. And the purpose of the skill is that you can use it to transition from Awakening. So look here, I'm in Awakening. And then if I do Bolt Wave, I can go back into Preawakening. So I'll show you again. So do Bolt Wave, and now I'm back in Preawakening. Um, Another purpose for the Bolt Wave, Jolt Wave skill is that if you need some filler damage because your Flash skill is on cooldown, and you need some filler damage in the Preawakening kit, you can do the Bolt Wave, Jolt Wave cancel, and it does an okay amount of damage. Not great, but it's okay. And it looks like this, like that. And I'll go more in details on how to do the bolt wave, jet wave cancel later on in this video. You can also use bolt wave to cancel some skills, which I will also cover later on in this video as well. Okay, the next skill that we're going to look at after bolt and jolt is going to be void lightning and air lightning. Um, Void Lightning can be activated by pressing Q or by holding Q, depending on what you are trying to do. So if I just if I just press Q and let go, it does Void Lightning. However, if I want to hold Q, it also does the same thing, but instead of just quickly letting go, I can keep holding it, and I will actually get super armor for the whole duration of the skill, like this. So the super armor for the skill lasts basically for the whole duration right until the end when it does disappear. So there is a little bit of a gap towards the end of the skill for the super armor. This skill, you might have noticed, it does trigger Heilang to do the pet CC. So I'm going to show it to you guys again. And so that black net that Heilang was doing, anytime that somebody walks into that, it does stiffen them. However, when its skill is on cooldown, um, like this, the skill is on cooldown. See how he does not get stiffed? So yeah, it only CCs when the skill is off cooldown, and when the skill is on cooldown, it will not CC. Um, the next skill that we have is going to be Air Lightning, and Air Lightning is basically the same thing as Void Lightning, except it's faster. And you can't hold it for the long super armor. To use this skill, you can press Q after WW, this skill, or you can press Q after Flow Leap, and Flow Leap is this skill, like this, or like this, or like this. So I'm going to show it to you guys after WW. So WW, press Q, and then it does the Air Lightning attack. The Air Lightning basically follows or applies the same rules as the Void Lightning attack, except that it's just faster. You cannot hold it to get the long super armor. I'm going to show you guys after Flow Leap, the Flow Leap, and it looks like that. One more thing to know about Void Lightning is that Void Lightning does consume stamina. So if you are, let's say, I'm going to be trying to eat up my stamina real quick. Come on, stamina. Okay. So if your stamina is low, like this, what I'm doing right now, and you try to do Void Lightning, it will deplete a lot of your stamina, so just keep that in mind. So when you try to hold it, when you're low on stamina, sometimes it will eat through your stamina, and then the skill will end. So just keep that in mind for Void Lightning. Okay, the skill after Void Lightning, it is gonna be the different healing skills, or basically the different ways for you to control healing. The first skill that we have here is gonna be Summon Healing. This skill is basically how you summon your pet, or how you put him back away. Um, Once you get the skill, I believe to level 10, um, you can then use healing as a mount. But before then, you cannot use healing as a mount. Um, so to use this skill, you have to put it on your hotbar. To do that, I just drag it and then I put it on my hotbar. And I have my number 8 key, and I just press 8 and I summon Heilang. And it looks like that. This skill does have super armor, but the super armor is, I believe there is like a gap towards the end of the skill, so just keep that in mind. The next skill is going to be the Absorb Healing skill. Absorb Healing is your buff skill. You can buff yourself, and you can buff your party members up to 4 people. So for yourself, it is going to give you 60 seconds of AP, so 10 AP, 8 DP, 20% attack speed, 20% movement speed, and 60% crit hit rate. For your allies, it gives the same thing, except that it gives 30 seconds of it and not 60 seconds of it. If you want to use this skill to buff your allies, make sure that you are close to them, basically touching them, because the AoE for this skill is pretty small, and if you're not close to them, they will not get the buff. Also, to use this skill, it is pretty important that you have healing out, otherwise the skill will not work. So you see right here, I don't have this healing out. I'm going to use the skill. Come on. You see there? I just use it. I got the super armor icon, but I didn't get, if you check my buff bar here, I didn't get any buffs. And that's because healing is not out. However, if I have healing out like this, and I go and I use it, healing teleports to me, and now if you check my buff bar, I have 1 minute of buffs right here. The next thing that I'm going to talk about after the absorb healing skill it is the different ways to control healing or the different commands. The first command that we have, it is the guard command. Uh, oh, and by the way, all of these skills, there are no keys to press. If you want to use it, you gotta put it on your hotbar. So just keep that in mind. So the guard command basically makes it so the healing is always in front of you, like this. At least that's what the tooltip says. So if you use it, healing will be teleported to the front of you. A nice thing to know about this skill is that if you use this skill and you use a healing skill, like or a pet that triggers healing to do this healing CC, it will actually make it so that healing does the CC in front of you. So like this. See how he does the CC in front of me? Or if I use let's say roaring, he will do roaring in front of me. An important thing to know about the skill is that if you are hit at all during the if you're hit at all when you are doing that skill, healing will actually stop doing the healing C and healing will come to you. Um, I don't know if that's intentional or if that is a bug right now because um, communication between PA has been a little bit weird. Um, but yeah, from what I understand, it's that if your dog is in the guard stance or the guard command, if you let's say you do void lightning, and then you get hit, he will actually stop doing void lightning, and then he'll just come to you. Basically, every single skill that makes Heilang do his attacks. If you get hit, it's gonna stop the attack, and it's gonna come towards you. So yeah, just keep that in mind for the guard command. Um, I guess the purpose of this skill, the guard command skill, I guess if you're fighting like a ranged class, like an archer or a ranger, you can summon Heilang to the front of you. Then you can use him as a meat shield, like that. So he just blocks the attacks for you, while you also block, and you just kind of wait to regen stamina or regen health, whatever you're trying to do. Besides that, I don't really recommend using the guard command just because you will lose the pet CC every time you get hit, or every time Heilang gets hit, you will lose the pet CC. So just keep that in mind. Next is the follow command. Um, if you the follow command basically makes it so that you can ride Heilang like that, and I ride Heilang like this. Um, so a neat thing to know about the follow command is that it will do if you are in combat while you are in the follow stance or the follow command, will make it so that Heilang actually follows the same rules as the guard command. So, for example, if I do like War Lightning, he will do War Lightning in front of me. Or if I do, let's say, Roaring, he would. Or if I do Roaring, he'll do Roaring in front of me. So yeah. Um, let's see what else. For the guard, I mean the follow command. Unlike the guard command where Heilang will teleport you like this, like this. The follow command, Heilang won't teleport you. So if I use it, it makes it that Heilang just kind of runs to me. He doesn't teleport to me. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. Um, After the follow command, we have the help command. So the help command, in my opinion, right now, it is the most useless command out of all of the different commands, and this is because it makes it so that Heilang basically ignores everything that you tell it to do, and it just goes and does its own thing. So I'm gonna use the help command. It's on my number one key. I'm gonna use it. And now if I try to do like a Heilang skill, right? A skill that triggers Heilang to do a CC. See how he doesn't do anything? He just goes and does his own thing. Or if I use roaring, see how Heilang just doesn't do the roaring CC. He just does his own thing. So right now I don't really see much of a purpose for the help command besides I don't know, I guess if you wanna RP you can just click it and be like, Heilang, I choose you. Um I guess there is one use for it. If you are in the open world and you want Heilang to defend you while you are AFK. If you have this skill on, if you just go AFK, if somebody attacks you, I guess Heilang will attack that mob. Um, but but yeah, that's about it. Also, I guess this skill will make it so that Heilang will protect your horse as well. So if your horse gets hit, your Heilang will actually run to the horse and I guess protect it. But yeah, in actual combat, this skill doesn't serve much of a purpose, which is why I don't put it on my hotbar. Next, after that skill, the last one, it is going to be the attack command. The attack command, in my opinion, it is the one that has the most potential. Um, and if you use the attack command, you will actually send Heilang out like this, and Heilang will get a stiff. I mean, not Heilang, the person that Heilang hits will get stiff. Um, a neat trick to know about this skill is that if you use War Lightning and then you cancel it right away and then you do the attack command, Heilang will run to the target, but he will be running under the ground, kinda, and so it'll be harder to see him. So it's gonna look like this and then like this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this again. Okay, so let me try if I can show it to you guys. Come on, come on, Heilang. Now if we do this, there we go. Um, so yeah, you see how Heilang ran to that person, but he basically ran under the ground. So instead of running above the ground where you can see him coming from like a mile away, he runs under the ground. And if you are in the middle of combat, sometimes it will make it so that it's a little bit harder to see him running towards your opponent. But yeah, besides that trick, the potential or the strength of the attack command, it's that it makes it so that Heilang does his Heilang CC or the pet CC at range. For example, let's say I want to hit that target right there, that minion. I can do Air Lightning, and Heilang will actually teleport to that target, and he will do the Air Lightning attack at that target's location instead of doing it at my location. Or if I do Roaring, this basically works with every any Heilang skill or any skill that controls Heilang. For example, if I do Beast Rampage, or if I do All Around Spinner. So yeah, basically works with any of the Heilang skills. But yeah, I think that is about it for the different ways to control Heilang with the commands. So to summarize, this skill right here, Summon Heilang, that's how you summon Heilang. Absorb Heilang is your party buff skill or your self buff skill. It is the 5-minute 30-second cooldown, so just keep that in mind. It's super long. Um, the guard command makes it so that Heilang will always be in front of you. If you do a Heilang skill, he'll do the Heilang skill in front of you. However, if you do get hit, he will stop doing the skill. The next skill is the follow command. The follow command makes it so that you can ride Heilang. However, if you are in combat and you are in the follow command mode, he will apply the same rules as the guard command. Next is the help command. The help command um, basically is a useless skill. And then after that, we have the attack command. The attack command makes it so that Heilang will do his pet CCs at the target's location instead of doing it at your feet. Okay, now after the different commands, the next skill or next set of skills we have is the scratch skill. And scratch can be activated in 3 ways. There is the side scratch, which can be activated by pressing A or D, then RMB, like this, or like this. Or you can use the forward scratch, which can be activated after pressing your evasion skill, your WW skill, and pressing RMB, like this, forward scratch. And scratch is one of your best skills to, besides to grab, it's one of the best way for you to catch people, um, because it's a super armor, but at the same time it's also a stiff. So it's basically a protected CC, which makes it a really good skill for catching people. If you use scratch, you use the forward version of scratch, so the forward version of scratch like that. Sometimes, if somebody has the forward guard up or their block up and they don't have a super armor block, like warriors and Velks, you can actually scratch right through them, and then your scratch will actually hit them at the back, and it will actually go right through the forward guard, so you can see them through their block, which is really nice. Um, Another thing to know about scratch is that you can use it when it's on cooldown. So like this, I keep using it. It has no, basically it's on cooldown right now, and I'm using it. However, when it's on cooldown and you use it, you won't get the benefits of Scratch. And the benefits are the super armor and the CC. So now it's on cooldown and I use it. No super armor, no CC. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you are just using Scratch and spamming it for some reason. Scratch can also be used as a cancel so that you can do your mobility skills faster. I will go into more detail on this later on in the video when I go over the different ways to do different cancels. But yeah, um, let's see what else is there about Scratch. Scratch has super armor, and a lot of people don't take advantage of the super armor from Scratch. If you actually just linger it, the super armor for Scratch does last quite a bit of time. A lot of people they just use Scratch and then they go right into a different skill. But if you do Scratch, when it's not on cooldown, so like this, you just leave it, and the super armor actually does last for some time. So if you want to linger some super armor, Scratch is a nice option, like that. Okay, the next skill that we're gonna talk about after Scratch is Whiplash. Let me just unlock Whiplash real quick. Whiplash, to use Whiplash, you hold R and B like this. And in my opinion, Whiplash is one of the coolest looking Tamer skill um, in the Preawakening kit. Because Whiplash looks like you're painting with ink. You know, it looks really nice. Except the downside to Whiplash, and the reason why I have it locked is because Whiplash is useless um, in terms of actual practicality because it does no damage, it has no protection, it has no CC, it has no buffs, no debuffs, and so you're basically just standing there, just throwing ink on the ground, and someone's just gonna run up to you and it's just gonna hit you, and you're gonna get CC. So that's why I have this skill lock. Yeah, Sally, it's a nice looking skill, but it just doesn't have much of a purpose right now in the Tamer kit. Another good reason why you should lock this skill is because it uses the RMB key to to activate, and because of that, sometimes when you are using other skills that uses RMB, such as Thorburn, right? That skill, it will trigger Whiplash instead of the skill that you actually want to use, and it will actually mess up your combo. So that's why I have Whiplash locked. Hopefully in the future they will do something about the skill because it does look really nice. It just sucks right now to use. So yeah, just lock it like that. Okay, the next skill we have after Whiplash is Torque Burn. And Torque Burn can be activated by pressing Shift R and B. So like this, like that. And the nice thing about Torque Burn is that it has forward guard. So if you look at Torque Burn the tooltip, it actually doesn't do any kind of big damage. It doesn't have any kind of like good CCs for PvP. It has floating for PvE, but in PvP, it actually doesn't really help you much in terms of offensive purposes. However, because it does have the forward guard, and it's a pre-awakened skill, it actually is really nice to use because you can use it in pre-awakening if you need a quick way to do a forward guard skill. For example, I just do it here, and I get a nice forward guard. If you chain Torque Burn with another skill that's forward guard and pre-awakening, you can actually have a nice long duration with just forward guard if you need to protect yourself from damage coming from the front. So I do Torque Burn, chain it with Surging Tide, and I get a nice duration of forward guard. And I can do it even longer if I do a C swap. So I'll show you guys here. So Torque Burn, I do Surging Tide, to C-swap, and I get a nice duration of forward guard. So yeah, that's the reason why you should use Thorburn, even though it doesn't really do anything in terms of offensive. It does have some nice defensive properties with the forward guard. So yeah, so Thorburn, we have Trample, which is the next skill I'm going to be talking about. Trample can be activated by pressing space after certain skills. So let's, for example, if I do bolt, I can do trample. If I do upper claw, I can do trample. Most skills are basically almost every single skill in the pre-awakened kit and some skills in the Awakening kit can you can press space to use trample after it. So let me give you some examples. Resonance, trample by pressing space, searching uh, with for trembling, I believe, can also be used with trample. Let me wait for the cooldown. So yeah, you can use trample after that. Flash into trample, scratch into trample. You can't use trample after forward scratch, so let me show you guys. Forward scratch and a trample, it doesn't work. So yeah, what else? You can do, let's see, you can do, let's see, this skill into trample. Yep, so torpor into trample. So yeah, almost every single skill basically you can use trample after it by just pressing space. Trample is one of the best skills in low-end PvE because what you do is you just go up to a pack of a pack of mobs. You do bolt, jolt, trample. Next pack, bolt, jolt, trample, and then just bolt, jolt, trample, and you can basically kill, depending on your AP, just kill the whole pack. So it's really good for low-end PvE. Um, Trample also has a bound on it. I personally never use trample for the bound just because there are just way better options for in terms of CCs, and using the bound it's just so risky because trample does have a little bit of a slower animation like that. So that's why I don't use it for the bound. But some people they do like to use it for the bound. You can put trample on the hotbar. Let me show you guys like this, and you can just spam it over and over and over like that. If you want, you can just spam that over and over. And trample doesn't really have a cooldown. You can just keep spamming it over and over. The only thing that happens when it's on cooldown is that you don't get the CC, and it also does less damage. But yeah, that's trample. Um, Another thing about trample is that you can use it to switch from um, awakening to pre-awakening. So I'm in awakening now. I can do this, and now I'm in um, pre-awakening by using trample. You have to be super fast with it. So I'll go more into detail on how to do that swap and later on in the video. But yeah, it's basically summarize it. You use it basically after almost every single skill if you want to. Um, it has a bound CC. You can put it on the hotbar to spam it over and over if you want to do that, and you can use it to swap from awakening to pre-awakening. Okay, now after trample, the next skill in the kit of Tamer is Lightning of Earth. Let me just unlock Lightning of Earth real quick. Lightning of Earth can be activated by pressing WRMB, and it looks like this, like that. Uh, it's basically one of those skills that doesn't really have a cooldown. You can just keep using it over and over. However, as you saw, I locked this skill because Lightning of Earth right now it's similar to Whiplash in that it doesn't really do damage. It doesn't really have protection or CCs, any kind of debuffs or buffs. So basically, it doesn't serve a purpose. And unlike Whiplash, where Whiplash looks really nice, Lightning of Earth doesn't really look that nice. It's like an okay animation. So yeah, more of a reason to lock Lightning of Earth, just because it sucks and it doesn't really help you at all. So yeah, just lock Lightning of Earth and just pretend that it doesn't exist for now. Okay, the skill that we have next, it is gonna be Surging Tide. Surging Tide can be activated by pressing Shift F, like this. Shift F. Surging Tide is a 4 guard knockback, which makes it a really good skill for catching your opponent because you can just block, also spend, then also do a knockback at the same time. Um, a thing to know about the skill Surging Tide is that it will trigger Heilang to do the Heilang CC. However, it depending on which which command you are in, it will change the way that Heilang does the Heilang CC. So for example, if I am in the guard command and I do Surging Tide, Heilang will do this roaring CC. Now if I am in the attack command and I do Surging Tide, it will cause Heilang to do that CC. That CC that you saw right there, that will actually chase down your target. Um, for example, let's say your opponent is, it has there's some distance between you and your opponent. You do a surging tide. Heilang's gonna do that skill, and then the CC is actually gonna chase the target if the target runs away. This skill has a lot of potential because you can actually CC your opponent from two directions. So if you, as you can see, you got the knockback from the front, and then you also got the Heilang CC from the side or the back, like this. Nope, that time Heilang teleport to the front, but sometimes Heilang will actually teleport to the back of the opponent or to the side, and so they're gonna get CC from two directions, which makes it pretty hard for them to block it if they are just using a forward guard. Um, Another thing to know about this skill is that if you chain it with other skills, because it has a forward guard, you can use it just for the forward guard, so that you can have a way to stay protected in Preawakening. So, for example, let's say that I am low on HP and somebody is chasing me. If I just run, and I can quickly turn around, and I can do Surging Tide, and then I will get a forward guard knockback, and the person chase me. If they're not protected, if they're just throwing skills at me, they will actually get knocked back, and then my forward guard is gonna protect me from their skill, and I can CC them right afterwards. So yeah, that's like a way for you to use Surging Tide. You can also chain it with, like I said, other skills to get like more forward guard. Like what I did there was a C swap, which with Surging Tide. So the C swap with Surging Tide will give me like longer forward guard. But yeah, that's how you use Surging Tide. After Surging Tide, we have Fearful Trembling. Fearful Trembling can be activated by pressing Shift Q, like this, Shift Q. Um, and this skill is one of the best catches in the Preawakening kit, besides the grab and besides scratch. So let's say Ashashin is about to do his block jump at you. You see it. You can actually just do Fearful Trembling at your feet. He'll land on you, and then you'll be protected because you got the super armor. But he'll be stiffened. Um, oh, he'll be stunned. I mean, because the of the CC that Fearful Trembling has. So Fearful Trembling is a stun CC. So do keep that in mind. A stun and a stiff are not the same CC. So if you're new to BDO, a stiff is a zero point 0.7 CC. It counts as zero point 0.7, and a stun it counts as a 1 point CC. And basically in BDO, there are you can CC somebody up to 2 points. So if you use a stun, it counts as 1 point. If you use a stiff, it counts as zero point 0.7 for the CC. So just keep that in mind if you are gonna use the CC from Fearful Trembling to catch somebody. Um, Another thing you can do, and I'll go more into detail in this in like the cancel category, is that you can do a legendary beast power into Fearful Trembling to kind of do um, a super armor into a super armor catch, basically. So yeah, um, that's how I use Fearful Trembling. Another thing that people don't take advantage of for Fearful Trembling is that it has a nice super armor. So people usually would what they would do is they just use Fearful Trembling, then they go right into the next skill. However, if you do just leave it after using it, it does have some lingering super armor. So I can show you guys after the cooldown is up. I use Fearful Trembling, and it has super armor right until the end, where there's the gap at the end. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you want to linger some super armor, you can use Fearful Trembling for that as well. Okay, the next skill we have after Fearful Trembling, it's gonna be Upper Claw. Upper Claw can be activated by pressing S, R, and B. So like this, S, R, and B. This skill has two parts to it, the first hit and the second hit. The first hit is a float, you see. So the first hit, it's a float, and then the second hit is an air smash. Let's see if I can show you guys the air smash. Nope. The dummies in here for some reason won't work with air smash, but yeah, the second part is the air smash. I don't recommend using upper claw for the air smash just because it will make your float a shorter CC. So if you want to use upper claw, you just use it for the float. So just do the one hit for the float. Um, in today's playstyle of Tamer, a lot of people don't actually use upper claw anymore. Um, Even though have it unlocked, I don't use it as much anymore as well. Just because there are just better options for CCs. However, There are situations where upper claw can be useful. So let's say, for example, right, you do a scratch, the enemy is stiffed, you go for a grab, but you're a potato and you miss the grab. You can quickly follow up with the upper claw, and then you can get that float CC. So yeah, that's an example of ways you could use upper claw and the pre-weaken kit for Tamer. The thing about upper claw before I move on to the next skill is that upper claw is your pre-awakening black spirit skill. So if I go here and I unlock it, so you see here upper claw is your 100% in the pre-awakened form. I don't recommend using this skill, the pre-awakened black spirit skill for the upper claw because it sucks. But I'll demonstrate to you guys just so you guys can see what it looks like. So to use it, make sure you unlock the skill, and then you just click SRMB, and then it looks like this, like that. That's the pre-awaken 100% for Tamer, and it's upper claw. But yeah, I recommend just locking it, um, just because it's kind of bad, and your 1% in awakening is way better. So yeah, the next skill that we have after upper claw is gonna be roaring. Roaring can be activated by putting it on the hotbar. I like to put roaring on my mouse. So and then since I put it on my mouse, I activate it by pressing my mouse, the mouse key that I have, and it looks like this. Like this. And so as you can see, roaring has a pretty big AoE, and that makes it a really good skill in PvE to aggro the mobs just because the AoE is so big. So you can just go from like a pack, and then you can press it, aggro all the mobs, and they come to you. Um, so that's one of the nice things about roaring. Roaring when used with Heilang, it would trigger Heilang to do the pet CC, like this. However, do keep in mind that if the skill is on cooldown, roaring the CC from roaring won't apply. So yeah, it used to be able to used to be so that you can spam it and Heilang will always do the CC. But now whenever it's on cooldown, if you do the roaring skill, the Heilang won't apply the CC. Another thing to know about roaring is that if you do it close to an enemy, like this, it will actually do a float at towards the end of the skill. However, I don't recommend using it for the float just because, as you can see, the animation for roaring is pretty long, and if you sit there and you spam roaring at your enemy, you just get attacked and you will get CC and die. So yeah, but yeah, to summarize roaring, basically you can use it as a PvE skill to aggro the mobs because of the big AoEs. Um, you can use it for the pet CC, because every time you use roaring when it's not on cooldown, Heilang will do the stiff CC, and anybody that walks into Heilang will get CC by Heilang. Um, and you can use it for whatever reason if you want to use it for the float, which I don't recommend. You can use it at the float. Just make sure that you are close to the enemy because if you're far away, the float won't apply. But yeah, that's boring. Oh, actually, one more thing before I go on to the next skill. Roaring, if you use it while you are mounted on your horse, let me show you guys. If you use roaring while mounted on your horse, you can actually do this thing where you can just spam it and you can go through packs on mobs, which makes it a really good skill for low end PvE. Um, let's see once this gets done loading, I can show you guys. Okay, so see how I'm on my horse. I can take out my weapon. I can press E, and I just do roaring. Um, let's see if I can go to polys real quick so I can show you guys. Okay, so I'm at polys now. You see if I do roaring, I can just go to packs of mobs like this. Pretty sure you guys may have seen videos of people just doing roaring to packs of mobs. It's a good way to farm low end spot. Um, so that roaring is really nice skill for that as well. Um, It's overall, in my opinion, really good PvE skill. So yeah, that's how you use roaring. Okay, the next skill we have after roaring, it's gonna be soaring kick. These skills right here, these are your succession skills, and since we are in awakening, we can't get these skills. But roaring is your grab. I mean, soaring kick is your grab skill, and it can be activated by pressing E. So like this, press E, and that's your grab. Your grab is a float TC, so it counts as a float TC when the grab is a successful grab. The grab is also super armor on successful hits. So let me show you guys. So you guys grab is successful and you get super armor. Just know that the super armor is super fast because your grab is also super fast. So most likely when you are gonna grab somebody, um, the super armor is gonna be there for like a split second and then it's gonna be gone. So just keep that in mind. There is no lingering super armor on the grab. Um, the grab is the grab CC for Tamer is one of your best catches in the game, just because it's a grab, so it can go through basically any kind of protections besides iframes. So let's say somebody just doing super armor and blocking non-stop. If you can get close enough, you can actually just grab them. Oh, I missed here just because I dashed right through them. But yeah, um, you can use your grab to cancel a lot of skills in your kit as well. Basically, almost every single kit, I mean every single skill, you can use your grab to cancel it. So, for example, I can do upper claw, but I can cancel it with the grab. I'll go more into this in detail and when I get to the cancellation part of this video. But yeah, basically to summarize, the grab can be activated by pressing E. It is a float CC. It has super armor, but the super armor is super short. Um, and your grab is one of the best CCs that you have available to you. Okay, the next skill after soaring kick, it's gonna be flurry of kicks. Flurry of kicks. Let me unlock it real quick. Flurry of kicks can be activated by tapping F or by holding F, and you just do these series of kicks like this. Um, the animation looks pretty cool. It's like a nice, cool kicking animation. However, as you can see, I have it locked because it's a pretty bad skill. Arguably one of the worst skill in the Tamer kit. Because it does no damage and it doesn't have any kind of protection or any kind of CCs, any kind of buffs or debuffs. I've been playing Tamer forever and I've never used his skill. So yeah, you just can just lock the skill and pretend that it doesn't exist because it's a pretty bad skill. So yeah, that's flurry kicks. The skill after flurry kicks, it's gonna be stretch kick. Stretch kick can be activated by pressing down F or SF. However, if you do play Awakening, if you have the skill Cloud Stomping, if you do SF, it actually is gonna take priority. So you're gonna use Cloud Stomping instead of Stretch Kick. So let me just lock Stretch Kick. Let me lock Cloud Stomping so I can show you guys. Um, so down F, it looks like this. Okay, and it is a float CC. Um, however, you probably will not use this skill, Stretch Kick, just because you're gonna have Cloud Stomping, and Cloud Stomping is just gonna take priority over Stretch Kick. So yeah, if you do want to use Stretch Kick though, for whatever reason, you can do press F after Fearful and Trembling, so Fearful and Trembling, and then press F, and then you would do Stretch Kick. Uh, but I don't recommend doing that just because you'll eat through your CC counters and you won't have a time to debuff or buff yourself. So yeah, that's stretch kick. Okay, the next skill that we have after stretch kick, it's gonna be tree climb. Tree climb can be activated by pressing WF like this. Um, so a lot of new tamers they actually lock tree climb because in Awakening there is a skill called Moonlight Strike, and it uses the same key input as Tree Climb, and people and a lot of new tamers still like to lock Tree Climb so that they can use it to go into Awakening and do the Moonlight Strike skill. However, this is a newbie trap, and do not do that because Tree Climb is one of your best skills in Pre-Awakening. If you lock it just so that you can go into Awakening and use Moonlight Strike from Pre-Awakening, you are actively griefing yourself. Um, so yeah, don't do that. Make sure you do not lock Tree Climb, because Tree Climb is a really good skill. So if you look here, Tree Climb has iframe, and it's supposed to be your gapless iframe skill in Pre-Awakening, and it also has a small window of lingering iframe. So I recommend you turn on your protection icons just so that you can see when the iframe on Tree Climb ends. But Tree Climb is supposed to be your gapless iframe in Pre-Awakening, but however, because of desync, sometimes you will get hit out of Tree Climb even though it's gapless. Um, Another thing to know about Tree Climb is that if you hit a target and you keep holding onto the WF key like this, you will actually do a backward jump and you will lose the iframe. So let's see. So I get iframe, I hit the target, I lose the iframe, and I jump backwards. However, if you just tap WF like this, you just tap it, you will hit the target, keep the iframe, and then you will land at their feet. Um, so for whatever reason, let's say you're fighting somebody that's playing super defensive, and they're just standing there blocking and doing super armor. If you can hit them with tree climb, you will land at their feet, and if they're slow to react, you can actually just grab them right away as soon as you land. So yeah, that's a trick to tree climb. Another thing to know about tree climb is that you can use tree climb to erase or to get rid of the gap in your WW skill. So let's say you're doing WW, you can press WF, and then you will do a gapless WW. Um, it's supposed to be gapless, but like I said earlier, because of desync, when you transition from your WW into the tree climb skill, sometimes you will get hit out of it just because of desync. But yeah, that's tree climb. Make sure you don't lock it. Don't fall for the newbie trap. Because tree climb is a really good skill per waking for keeping you protected. Okay, after tree climb, we have evasive attack. Um, let me see. Let me get some points so I can put it into evasive attack. Um, oh man. Okay. So evasive attack can be activated by pressing A or D plus L and B. So A or D, L and B like this. However, this skill, as you can see, I don't have it maxed out and I have it locked because evasive attack is a skill that is, if you use it, you're gonna be griefing yourself. Because this skill, even though the name says evasive attack, you don't actually evade with it. Uh, yeah, there is no protection on it at all, and the skill just it does nothing. So, but yeah, it looks like this. Plus A or D and then L and B like this. Um, you're gonna think that this skill has some kind of protection because of the name, but it doesn't. And this skill will actually eat up your stamina if you spam it like this. See how my stamina bar is just draining? Um, so that's why I don't really put points into the skill. Uh, and I have it locked. So so yeah, basically just uh lock the skill and pretend that it doesn't exist because you most likely will never use it. Okay, after evasive attack, the next skill that we have, it's gonna be legendary beast power. Legendary beast power is also one of your movement skill, and it's one of your movement skill that doesn't use stamina. Legendary beast power can be activated by pressing shift space, so like this, shift space. Um, this skill has super armor at the beginning, and towards the end, you actually lose the super armor. So keep that in mind. It's not fully protected. There is a gap. um, this skill, Legendary Beast Power, you can use it to cancel like basically almost every single skill in the Tamer kit. So for example, I do Upper Claw, I can cancel it and just do shift space and do legendary beast power. Um, so using legendary beast power combination with your WW skill will actually make it so that you can do WW more because you will uh, have that opportunity to regen your stamina because legendary beast power does not use stamina. So what a lot of tamers do is they do 3 hops. So one, two, three, legendary beast power, then one, two, three, legendary beast power. So like that. Mm. You can also use it. There is a cancel to make it so that it comes out faster. So you can do forward scratch into legendary beast power to kind of help with um your movement, your mobility. I'll go more into details on that since it's a cancel when I go over the cancellation topic in this video. But yeah, that's how you use legendary beast power. It's your space and it's your movement skill that's protected. After legendary beast power, we have flow leap. Flow leap is can be activated by pressing um a directional key, so ASW or WASD, I mean WASD, and after you jump. So let's say you move in a direction, right? WASD, you do a jump, and that's flow leap like that. What purpose does this skill serve? Uh, Not really any purpose. I guess if you do Soaring Arts Tamer, you could use this skill, but I don't know how to do Soaring Arts Tamer, so yeah, this skill doesn't really serve much purpose for me. However, I do have it because I just like how it looks. It's kind of cool. You do these nice double jumps. Um, if I lock this skill and I do it, let's see. Oh, I can't. Okay, so let's say I take points away from it. Now if I jump, see, I can't do the leaps anymore. But yeah, that's flow leap for you. Basically, a skill that lets you jump. Kind of cool. Okay, the next skill that we have after flow leap, it's gonna be the evasion skill, also known as your WW skill. Um, the WW can be activated by pressing or spamming, I should say, the WW key. So like what I'm doing right now. Or a better way to use this skill, which I recommend every tamer do, um, is to go into your settings, click on the search, type in WW, click on uh, the first thing that comes up, and then scroll down to the bottom where you see the evasion WW. Assign it to a key either on your keyboard or your mouse. I have it on my mouse, and then whenever you want to use your evasion skill, your WW skill, you just press that key, and you won't have to spam WW over and over. So I just hold down. You see, I'm just holding down the button on my mouse, and I'm using the WW key, WW skill. If I don't do that, I have to just keep spamming the actual W key, and it gets pretty annoying. So yeah, this skill it's an iframe skill, and it's one of your primary ways of moving around. It's iframe, but it's not fully protected. There is a big gap towards the end of the WW skill. So keep that in mind whenever you are moving through like just packs of people, because if they just throw around those skills, CC skills around, sometimes you will actually get hit out of the skill. Um, Another thing about the evasion skill, the WW skill, is that you can use it in multiple directions. So use it to the sides, to the back. However, if you play Awakening, if you try to do it, you will just go into leaves dropping. So let me lock leaves dropping so I can show you guys. And also let me unlock the evasion. So if I do, let's say, Shift D, so that's the evasion skill, but to the sides and to the backwards and backwards. Um, However, as you can see here, I don't actually get any kind of protection when I use evasion to the sides or to the back. Um, yeah, that's why I lock it. Even if you lock the skill, you can still use um, the skill. You just won't be able to use it to the sides or to the back. And another reason why I lock it is that, let's say, let me unlock this. Let's say sometimes you are you use leaf trapping is on cooldown, and you use the skill. You might accidentally use the you might accidentally use the side or the backwards evasion skill when you're actually trying to use your leaf trapping skill without knowing that your leaf trapping skill is on cooldown, and then you just get hit and it's not protected, and you will get CC'd. So yeah, that's why I recommend locking it. Just so that's so you don't accidentally use it whenever leaf trapping is on cooldown, and you end up getting punished for it. So lock it. Okay, now that I've gone over all of the skills and the pre-awakening kit, we're gonna talk about the passive next. The first passive that we have for Tamer is Bestial Instincts. This passive, when you max it out, it gives you, I believe, 5% accuracy and 150 stamina. So make sure you max this skill out as soon as possible. It's maxed out at level 60 and requires 3 points, I believe 3 points each. Yeah. So try to max these two instincts out as soon as you can, so you can get that 5% accuracy. The 150 stamina is uh it's there. You won't notice it because it's 150 stamina. So you get it for the passive, for the accuracy passive, not for the stamina passive. Um, the next skill is the next passive is gonna be your succession passive. We can't get this passive because we are playing Awakening, so that's why it's grayed out. So that if you play succession, you can actually get an additional passive, which is this passive. Next passive, it's gonna be Unyielding Might. This is gonna be your level 62 passive, and it gives you all special attack damage plus 1%. Um, yeah, so you can get this skill as well once you reach level 62, just to do a little bit extra more damage. Um, the next skill that we have, or the next passive we have, it's going to be Infinite Mastery. This is the passive that every single class has, and at max level, this is going to give you, I believe, 700 HP and 2% accuracy. So, with the Infinite Mastery passive and the Bestial Instinct passive, you get 7% 7% accuracy total in your passive, just from your passive. So it's pretty nice. Um, Next passive, it's gonna be Skilled Hunter. This is your PvE passive. And when you max this out, it's gonna give you 15 monster damage. Um, so yeah, I would also recommend getting this passive. I actually recommend getting every single passives. Besides the next one that I'm gonna talk about, which is a free passive, and also it is the meme passive of the BDO community. Because as you can see here, Fortune's Blessing, it gives you a total of 25 weight and 50 HP. Uh, so yeah, this passive is a meme because what is 25 weight gonna do for you, and what is 50 HP gonna do for you? Nothing. But you get this passive for free. You don't have to put any points into it. You basically get it as soon as you have a tamer. So I guess it's there. Um, Next skill are the rage skills. So you have rage absorption common, rage absorption innate, and then rage transfer. Um, So rage absorption innate is basically the same thing as rage absorption common, but for some reason, if you see here, this one gives you OA please plus 30, and then this one gives you OA please plus 30, and also attack speed plus 25%. So basically, this skill is like this skill, but without the attack speed. So just lock it because yeah, it's like there's no point to this skill. You don't want to use it by accident, so just lock it and use this one because it'll give you AP and also give you attack speed. Next is the this is sometimes people will refer to this skill as your Z buff skill. So if you press Z, you will uh consume your black spirit. So you notice on my black spirit up here, once you reach this 100%, I can press Z and it consumes it. Now I have the buff on my buff bar. Um, The next skill is your rage transfer skill. This skill can be activated by pressing X, and basically, when you have rage, you can press X and you can transfer it like this to somebody in your party. They have to be in your party for the transfer to go through, otherwise, it won't go through. But do know that you don't transfer 1% of your black spirit to them, your party member. You only transfer 50% of it. So let's say you have 100 BSR, 100 Black Spirit Rage. If you transfer 100 of it, they will only get 50 Black Spirit Rage. And then lastly, the last skill. This is your emergency escape skill. Basically, you press V and you get like let's see, 5 seconds, right? 5 seconds of iframe where you can't be hit and they can't see you at all. Um, you just go on your screen. You're gonna become a I can't do it because I'm in bad arena, but you basically become like a red orb and you move around. On your screen you can see yourself, but on the enemy screen you become invisible to them. Um, and then down here we have your node word passives. This one gives you magic DP. This one gives you range DP, and then this one gives you melee DP. Uh, but it only works in node wars. It won't work when you are out in the open world. So yeah, and to get these passives, you need to do node wars and you need to get the node word medals. Once you get the node word medals, you can then exchange it to get points so that you can put it into to these skills. As a tamer, I recommend that you get the melee DP one because most of the time you will actually just be fighting other skirmishers and they will be melee damage. Um, I know in the past people used to want to get magic DP, but recently a lot of the melee classes like Musas, they've gotten a lot more damage. So I recommend getting the melee DP one for Node Wars if you do Node Wars. Okay. Now that we've finished talking about every skill in the main tab or the pre-awaken tab, next I'm going to talk about every skill in the skill enhancement tab, also known as your Rabam skills. Um, so the thing about the Rabam skill is that it comes in a tree, like the Fitful Trembling tree, the Stand Shift tree, the Throatburn tree. Um, but you can only pick one skill in this tree. So you have to pick the one that suits your playstyle. So for example, let's say I pick Horror Slam, like this, and now Resonance is locked because I can have two of the same two skill from the same tree. Um, so Horror Slam can be activated by pressing Shift X, and it looks like this, Shift X. Um, However, I don't recommend getting Horror Slam because the skill Resonance exists, and Resonance is just better in every way compared to Horror Slam. Uh, so Resonance has super armor, and it has a nice long lingering super armor, and it also has, I believe, more damage compared to Horror Slam. So there is no reason to get Horror Slam. So just take points out of Horror Slam and get Resonance. Resonance, like Horror Slam, can be activated by pressing Shift X by putting it on the hotbar. I have it on my number 3 key, but I'll do it by pressing Shift X. And you see here, it has a nice long super armor. Um, Considering that this is a pre-awakening skill, it does an okay-ish amount of damage. It's not as good as it used to be, but if you for some reason if you need some kind of super armor damage, I guess you can try Resonance and maybe you might get lucky and get a kill. Um, Next, the next set of skills we have is going to be the Stance Shift tree. We have Jolt Stab, and then we have Legendary Beast Claw. So Jolt Stab can be activated by pressing Shift Z, or you can put it on the hotbar. I have mine on the number 2 key, but I'll press Shift Z here, so Shift Z. That's Jolt Stab. I recommend picking Jolt Stab over Legendary Beast Claw, even though Legendary Beast Claw has super armor and it has a knockdown CC. Jolt Stab just does so much damage when you compare it to Legendary Beast Claw that you can use Jolt Stab in a combo, and it does a really good amount of damage. It also has Mayonnaise all DP minus 10 for 5 seconds, which is really good for comboing, so you can debuff the enemy. Um, but yeah, let me show you Legendary Beast Claw. So Legendary Beast Claw, like Jolt Stab, can be activated by pressing Shift Z, and if you use it close to this target here, you can actually knock them down because it does have the knockdown CC. However, you might have noticed that the super armor, um, it only lasts at the beginning and it disappears towards the end of the skill. If it was super armor throughout the entire skill, this skill uh, sh uh, Legendary Beast Claw might actually be a pretty good skill to use compared to Jolt Stab, but because there is that gap, um, because of that gap, it's not that great because you will get hit out of the skill because it's not a fast skill, it's a pretty slow skill. Um, and yeah, because of that, I don't recommend you pick it over Jolt Stab. Next is going to be your third option for the different types skills in the Rabam skills. First we have Lightning Burn. These skills you can't there is no key for them, so you gotta put them on the hotbar. So let me put that there. Lightning Burn looks like this. Whoops, wrong key. Like this. So lightning burn is I you will primarily use lightning burn for defensive purposes, because it does have the super armor and it pushes you back, so you can use it to evade backwards. However, do know that if you use this skill towards the end, you do lose the super armor. So look here. If you look here, super armor, and then normal super armor. Um, a way to kind of like minimize this is you can use it along with other skills towards the end to kind of minimize the gap. So let's see. Let me wait for the skills to go off cooldown so I can show you guys. So you can do that, and you can go into a leaf dropping to try to kind of minimize that gap towards the end. Mm. And then the next one we have. Oh, whoops. Let me wait for the cooldown first. The next one we have is Breath Spike. And Breath Spike is a pretty unique the Ram skill because it actually chains together with another Rabam skill, which I believe no other class in the game has this kind of uniqueness. Um, the Rabam skill chaining with another Rabam skill. So let me pick Breath Spike. The Breath Spike can be activated by either putting on the heart key like this, or if you use Jolt Stab and you press L and B, it will actually do the Jolt Stab. I mean the Breath Spike attack. So let me show you guys again. I'm gonna do Jolt Stab and I hold L and B, and now I use Breath Spike. This is pretty good in PvE. It does help you do damage, quite a bit of damage in PvE. So if you want to go for an offensive skill, I recommend you pick Breath Spike. If you want to go for a defensive skill, I recommend you pick Lightning Burn. Um, but yeah, out of these two options, there is really not one that is better than the other, in my opinion. So you can pick whichever one you want, according to your playstyle. Uh, another thing about Breath Spike is that you can just use it like just without build to that, and it looks like this. It does have a knockdown CC, however, it's not a protected skill, so just keep that in mind if you wanna use that to CC somebody. But yeah, those are the Rabam skills. Okay, now that I've talked about the main skill or the pre-awakened skills and then the skill enhancement or the Rabam skills, we're finally going to talk about the awakening skills. So the awakening skill is going to be where you're going to find your big hitting skills, your big hitting damage abilities. So in my opinion, the main skill, the pre-awakened skill, it's going to be where you find your utility skills. For example, your CCs, your debuffs and your buffs, and yeah, stuff like that. But in awakening, that's going to be where you find your big hitting skills, your skills that's going to kill people. So to get to awakening, there are different ways. I'm gonna go into more details on this in later on in the video on a different topic, just so that it's more organized. But just to quickly tell you guys, you can either get to awakening by doing leaf dropping, so Shift A or Shift D, um, or you can do like a C swap. Um, but yeah, there are better ways to do C swap, so that's not a slow C swap, and I'll go more into detail on that in later on in the video. Yeah, the first skill that we have in Awakening, it is Heilang Berserk. Heilang Berserk is your ebuff skill, and it can be activated by pressing Shift E. However, I leave this skill locked because it uses the E key, and sometimes I am kind of potato, and when I try to go for a grab, I'll press Shift E for whatever reason, and I'll end up using Heilang Berserk and not getting the grab. Um, but if you are good, I guess you can leave it unlocked. Um, However, this ebuff is not an amazing buff at all because it gives you ODP plus 20, and it gives you movement speed plus 15% or resistance plus 30%. As a tamer, you are actually super squishy, like one of the most squishy class in the game, and having an additional 20 DP is you're not gonna notice a difference. You're gonna use the skill, you're gonna go and you're gonna be like, man, I'm tanky now, and then you're gonna get melted like as fast as you did without the buff. But yeah, that's the first skill that we have, Hailing Berserk. It looks like this, so you gotta be in Awakening to use it. If I'm in Preawakening, see here, I can't use it. So you go into Awakening, press Shift E, and now you use it, and now it's on your hotbar. Another thing I forgot to mention is that this skill, according to the tooltip, will make Hailing invincible. Um, so yeah, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I believe it makes it so that Hailing won't get CC because Heilang is the only pet in the game that can get CC'd. So I guess if you use the skill, for the duration of the skill, it makes it so that Heilang can't get CC'd. So that you can use it for that purpose as well. Okay, the next skill after your ebuff skill is gonna be your Q block in Awakening. So to use the Q block, make sure you are in Awakening, and then you just hold Q, and right there, that's your Q block. If you hold your Q block for a certain amount of time, you will actually get a DP buff, ODP plus 20 plus 10 seconds. So like this. So I have no buff right now. I use it. So if you just use it, right, you won't get it. But if you hold it, and now I get the DP buff on my buff bar. But yeah, that's how you use your Q block. Q block. You can use your Q block to cancel a lot of skills in Awakening. Um, so for example, let me show you guys. If I do, let's say, Beast Rampage, I can Beast Rampage, Q block, and then it cancels the skill. Or let's say I do Legendary Beast stance, I can do it. I can Q block and it cancels the skill. Yeah, Q block, you can use it to cancel a lot of skills in Awakening. Um, Next one after Q block, we have your Elvia skill. Basically, to use this skill, I need to have an Elvia weapon with me, and sadly, I don't have one with me right now, so I can't show you guys what this skill looks like. But you basically use the skill by putting on your quick slot or your hotbar, and yeah, when you get an Elvia weapon, you can press the button and it will use the skill. However, in my opinion, um, I wouldn't use this skill just because you can just whenever you get an elbow weapon, you can just do Garuda. Let me unlock Garuda. Oops. You can just do Garuda into the flow, and then it does like way more damage compared to the skill. And you can spam Garuda as well. Unlike the skill which has a cooldown. But yeah. And also when you get a weapon, you can also just do the new skill. Uh, just do the new skill. Legendary Beast Dance Echo, and that's yeah, it's pretty good. Can you spam over and over compared to this skill, which has a cooldown you cannot spam, and basically does like the same amount of damage. The next skill that we have, it's gonna be your basic attack skill. Your basic attack skill can be activated by pressing L and B. So like this, L and B. Um, you can do different L and Bs to do different attacks. So A, D, L and B, W, L and B. Um, Unlike your pre-awakening basic attack, Leaf Slash and Awakening, your basic attack is actually useful. Not for hitting the target because it's kind of bad for hitting a target. But if you use it, you can actually use it to buff yourself. So you see here my buff bar. Let me wait for this to run out. So if I do a basic attack 3 times, so 1, 2, 3, I actually get a 15% accuracy buff for 10 seconds, which is really good. You can use this skill to pre-buff yourself so that you can get more accuracy. There are also other ways to get the buff from this skill, um, but I'll get into that when I get to the skill that uses it so you can get the 15% accuracy buff. Okay, after your basic attack skill slash your bow staff, your next skill is gonna be Cloud Stomping, and Cloud Stomping can be activated by pressing down F like this. Um, a nice thing to know about this skill is that you can use it from Pre-Awakening. So like this. if I'm see I'm in Preawakening now, I can do down F. It puts me into Awakening, and I use the skill. This skill, there are two ways to use it. So you can use it and just don't press any keys after you use it. So down F, just leave it, and you do this spinning attack, or you spin forward. However, if you use it and then you press R and B, you do this flying attack or flying movement. So down R and B, and see how I can kind of like fly down. But yeah, that's cloud stomping. Another thing to know about cloud stomping is that if you do the R&B version of it, where you kind of fly forward, you actually get a pretty long lingering super armor, like one of the longest lingering super armor in your kit. So like this. So there, see that? Lingering, 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 still super armor, and then no more super armor. So you can use it if you want some kind of long super armor to linger. You still get the lingering super armor on the non R&B version of it, but it's just not as long compared to the R&B version of it. Um, Another thing to know is that you can use this skill for the accuracy buff. It gives you 50% accuracy for 3 seconds. So yeah, just 3 seconds. So I guess when you use it, you will have like almost no time to follow up with any skills. But uh, but yeah, if you somehow use it to catch an opponent, um, you can quickly do a CC, I guess, and you can get that 50% accuracy for like 1 second, because it takes like 2 seconds for you to fly, and then you have like 1 second to react. Um, but yeah, that's cloud stomping. Okay, one more thing for cloud stomping before I move on to the next skill, is that you can cancel cloud stomping early by using Moonlight Strike or by just pressing F. So for example, I do cloud stomping, shift, so I do SF to do cloud stomping, and then I do oops, and then if I press R and B, and I press F, I can actually end the flying animation early. So let me show it to you guys. So like this, R and B, and I press F, and then I land early. Um, and then I can do Moonlight Strike right afterwards. If I want to do that. So let me show it to you guys again. So SF, R and B. Oops, there was the flying animation there. I mean falling animation. Okay, let's try this again. Let's do it on a flat area. So this, and I cancel early, and then I can dash forward with it. But yeah, that's how. That's another thing to know about cloud stomping. You can cancel early by pressing F or WF to go into Moonlight Strike, like that. There we go. Okay, the next skill that we have after cloud stomping, it's gonna be Beast Rampage, and the skill right next to it, Flow Intimidation. Beast Rampage can be activated by pressing down L and B, S L and B. So like this is what it looks like. And then Intimidation can be activated by after Beast Rampage. You can just keep holding S L and B, or you can put it on your hotbar, or you can use it after certain skills. I'll go more into details when I cover Intimidation. But for Beast Rampage is your hardest hitting ability for Tamer. If you get somebody knocked down and then you do Beast Rampage, depending on your AP, you can basically one-shot them with this skill. Um, but something to know about this skill is that it is not a protected skill. So if you use it without the core, that you just leave yourself vulnerable for attacks. However, if you do have the core for it, it will give you a full guard whenever you use Beast Rampage. So you can I recommend picking the Beast Rampage core for a large scale and for a lot of situations, just so that you can get some protected damage. Um, Another thing about the Beast Rampage is that it does have a bound CC. So if you look here, it will bound that person. It also has a down smash CC, but sometimes with a down smash CC, it will actually hit them out of your AoE range because Beast Rampage, the AoE for Beast Rampage is pretty small. So sometimes when you down smash somebody like that, will actually hit them out of the range of the skill. So so yeah, that's Beast Rampage. After Beast Rampage, it's the Flow Intimidation. Um, so to use Flow Intimidation after Beast Rampage, just keep holding down S, L, and B. So it's and then that skill right there at the end. That's Flow Intimidation. Flow Intimidation, if you put it on the hotbar, you can use it. Just use it. Um, However, if it's on cooldown, the CC won't apply. But if it's not on cooldown, you will get the float CC. Do you have it on the hotbar? You can use it from Preawakening like this. So I'm in Preawakening. I can use it and I can get the float and I can transition into Awakening. Um, Another way to use Intimidation is that you can use it after leaf trapping by pressing down LB. So down LB, leaf trapping, and then down LB. Let me show it to you guys again. So I'm gonna do leaf trapping and then down LB. Um, Another way to use it is you can use it after certain legendary beast stance skill. So for example, if I do tiger or I do turtle, I can then use leaf trapping. So this right here, that's is turtle attack, and I believe tiger, right? Yep, tiger is this one. Yep, that's tiger. Okay, so if I do turtle, and then I do that, I can do intimidation right after turtle, or same with tiger, I can do like that. So yeah, if you want to, that's different ways for you to use intimidation. Okay, after intimidation, the next skill that we have is celestial slam. Celestial slam can be argued that it to be your second hardest ability, second hardest hitting ability in Awakening. It can be activated by pressing Shift F. Yep, Shift F, and it looks like this: Shift F, like that. The nice thing about Celestial Slam is that if you use Celestial Slam and then you use Beast Rampage right after it, or you use LMB right after it, you will actually get the accuracy buff from your basic attack skill. So let me show you guys. So see right now my hotbar, there is no accuracy buff. I do Celestial Slam, LMB, and now I get the accuracy buff. This is a nice way to get the accuracy buff without having to do 1, 2, 3 basic attack. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so let me show it to you guys with Beast Rampage. So no accuracy. I do Celestial Slam, Beast Rampage, and I get the accuracy buff. This is really good because it makes it so that Beast Rampage hits even harder because using Beast Rampage right after Celestial Slam will make it so that Beast Rampage basically has 50% more accuracy to make it so that you can hit targets with high evasion. Um, One of the downsides to Celestial Slam is that it cannot be cancelled at all by any skills. So if you use Celestial Slam, you're basically locked into the animation. So for example, like I said earlier, a lot of skills can be cancelled with Q block, like this. You can Q block and cancel. But if I do Celestial Slam, I can't cancel it. I'm like stuck in that animation. So that's something to note about Celestial Slam. Um, I guess it's a high risk, high reward kind of skill. So if you use it in a large scale, make sure that you're safe because you will be locked into the animation and this skill is not protected. So if somebody comes and decides to hit you, you can't cancel the skill early to get out. So yeah. Um, for example, another way for you cancel skill is to do leaf trapping. But if I do Celestial Slam and I spam for leaf trapping, I'm still stuck in that animation until it actually ends. I can't cancel it early. Um, Celestial Slam also has a down smash and a stiff, but I don't really use Celestial Slam for the stiffness, so that's a stiff right there. Simply because I use Celestial Slam mainly for comboing, so I don't use it as a CC catch. Also for the down smash, sometimes with Celestial Slam, if you down smash somebody like this, um, you will actually hit them out of Beast Rampage AoE just because Beast Rampage has a small AoE, like I said earlier. Um, so yeah, that's something to take note of. But yeah, that's Celestial Slam. The next skill that we have after Celestial Slam, it's gonna be Beast Dance, Legendary Beast Dance, and Legendary Beast Dance Echo. So Legendary Beast Dance is a pretty unique skill in BDO because it changes depending on the different keys that you press. Um, for example, there are 4 different attacks that you can do with Legendary Beast Dance. So just holding down, so you can activate it by holding down RMB. You do the Vermilion Bird attack, basically the fire attack, like this. Um, and that skill does a float CC. Um, Yep. And then the next one we have, it's gonna be Black Turtle. Black Turtle can be activated by pressing down RMB like this, and it does a bound CC like this. Um, and then after Black Turtle, there is Azure Dragon. It can be activated by pressing A RMB like this, and it does a stun CC. And then after that, the last one is gonna be White Tiger, and White Tiger can be activated by pressing D RMB, and it looks like this, like that, and it does a stiff CC. Um, so because of the nature of legendary beast dance, some tamers don't use it, and some tamers use it a lot in their combos. I personally do not use this skill to combo um, like at all, but I know a lot of tamers they do like to use this skill as a skill for the second CC. Um, let's see what else. If you put the core for this skill, if you put the core for legendary beast stance, you will actually get super armor. So if you want some way, a nice way to get super armor CC in Awakening, you can take the core and you can get super armor. Now, however, the super armor will only be active if the skill is not on cooldown. So keep that in mind. Okay. Um, so something you might have noticed is that whenever I use legendary beast stance, it will actually put a buff on my buff bar here. And depending on the skill that you use, so let me give you an example. I'm gonna use a Vermilion Bird, the fire skill. Now I have a Vermilion Bird buff, and this buff it is gonna go into the next skill that I'm gonna talk about, which is Legendary Beast Dance Echo. And Legendary Beast Dance Echo can be activated by pressing Shift Q like this, and um, this skill, the effects of it is affected by the buff bar. So depending on which skill you use, on for legendary beast dance, it's gonna change how the next this skill is gonna be used. It's gonna change how legendary beast dance echo is gonna be used. So for example, I do turtle. Now I do shift Q to use legendary beast dance echo, and I do a big turtle attack. Um, I do dragon. Okay, now I do shift Q, and I do a bigger dragon attack. Same with tiger. Now I do shift Q, and I do a big tiger attack. Um, but yeah, let me go into more details on the different effects of the different skills and legendary beast chance echo. So for white tiger, if you use it, you get ODP plus 15 for 10 seconds, and you also get a knockdown. Um, and also, before I go on any further, do know that the buff lasts 4 minutes and it's not permanent. So you gotta every 4 minutes you gotta reapply the buff by using legendary beast chance to refresh the buff. But yeah, uh, also this skill is not affected by the core, the legendary beast chance core, so you won't get protection when you use this skill. So just keep that in mind as well. But yeah, Tiger, like I said, gives you 10 DP and it gives you a knockdown CC. Yep, knockdown. So I press Shift Q, I get the buff, and it gets knocked down. Okay, the next one is gonna be let's see. Let's do Black Turtle next. Yeah, Black Turtle. So Black Turtle, let me switch to Black Turtle. Now you see here on my bar, I have the Black Turtle buff. If I do Shift Q, Black Turtle. This skill is I recommend this one for PvE because the AoE is super big, like you see here, super big. Um, and it does a bound CC. Let's see, does it do anything else? No. It has a down smash, but I guess I wouldn't use it for the down smash. Use it for the big AoE and the bound CC. Um, the next one it's gonna be Dragon, Azure Dragon. Oh nope, that's not Dragon. This is Dragon. Okay. So Dragon doesn't give you any CCs like that, but it does give you magic AP plus 10 for 10 seconds, and it debuffs the enemy's attack speed and cast speed by 10% for 10 seconds. So like use this, and you see his buff bar. He has the debuff. Um, a thing to know about the dragon attack is that if you use it at super close range like this, the damage will actually won't apply all of the damage won't be applied to him because for whatever reason the hitbox is kind of weird and the damage will just go right through him. So to use it to its full potential, you gotta use it at like mid range, like this. If you use it at mid range, all of the attacks will hit him. If you use it at like max range, all of the attacks will not hit him as well. So you gotta be mid range. Don't be close and don't be too far. Otherwise, the damage won't come out to its fullest potential. And then lastly, we have Vermilion Bird. Vermilion Bird does a float CC and a burn. So let me wait for the cooldown. So another thing to know about Vermilion Bird is that if you use it from range, even though it is a range skill, you will not get the float. You only get the burn. So if I do it here, see, he is burning, but he didn't get floated. To get the float, you gotta actually be like mid range and close range. So if I do it now, he gets the float. So yeah, do keep that in mind for Vermilion Bird. But yeah, in my opinion, the legendary beast dance skills are like really unique skills. However, um, depending on your playstyle with Tamer, you will either never use it or you will use it all the time. It's just because of the nature of the skill, um, and its uniqueness that makes it so that some Tamers use it a lot, some Tamers just don't use it. Um, I will be using the flow, the legendary beast dance echo skill a lot, but I won't be using the legendary beast dance itself that much. Okay, the next skill that I'm gonna talk about is gonna be all around spinner, and it's flow throwing strike. All around spinner can be activated by pressing Shift RMB, and it looks like this: Shift RMB. The flow to all around spinner can be activated by holding Shift RMB after using all around spinner. Um, and it can also be activated by just itself if you just put down the hotbar. So like here, I have it on my number 4 key, and if I just press 4, I can use throwing flow throwing strike. Um, Another neat thing to know about all around spinner is that if you use it with Heilang, we'll actually make Heilang do a charge attack like that. Um, so for flow throwing strike, this skill is gonna be your T3 add-on skill. So you can put T3 add-ons on this skill and use this skill at the beginning of a combo to make it so that your skill you can buff yourself or debuff your enemy. So for me, I have the PvE add-on, so I have plus 30 monster damage and plus 15 human damage for Bloody Monastery grind. Um, let's see. Another thing about all-round spinner is that you can put you can have it be your 100% BSR skill in Awakening. Um, and your Awakening BSR skill does an okay amount of damage. Uh, it's not as good as it used to be. If you compare it to Beast Rampage, I think Beast Rampage will sometimes just do more damage. However, the difference between the Beast Rampage damage and the all-round damage is that all-round spinner, the Black Spirit rate of it is a bigger AoE, so you can use it on a group, and sometimes you might be able to get a kill or two. Um, and this is what it looks like. So that's the Black Spirit version of the all-round spinner. Um, if you use it in combination with your Absorb Healing skill, it will make it so that you you can hit them harder. So what I recommend you do is you absorb healing like this, and then you accuracy buff yourself 1, 2, 3, and then you do your ultimate attack all around spinner. If you want to maximize its damage potential. But yeah, that's how you use all around spinner. After all around spinner, the next skill that we have is gonna be Garuda and the flow ascension. Um, Garuda, a lot of tamers they like to use it as a second CC skill in a combo. I personally I don't use Garuda as a CC skill or in PvP at all. However, I do like to use it a lot in PvE just because it does do a pretty nice amount of damage if you use it with the Flow Ascension skill. Um, so to activate Garuda, you press F like that, and that's Garuda. Garuda does do a float CC, and it does do magic DP minus 20, which is why a lot of tamers they like to use it as a second way, second wave to CC the target and the combo because it does the float and it does the magic DP minus 20. Now, if you use it with Flow Ascension, this is what it looks like. Just hold F after using Garuda, so like this. And that second part right there, that is Flow Ascension. Flow Ascension does air attack and down attack, which is why it does hit pretty hard. But in PvE, it hits a lot harder just because there is not the damage reduce. Um, but yeah, depending on your playstyle of Tamer, you will either use Garuda a lot in your combos, or you'll be like me and you just really use Garuda in PvP at all. But yeah, that's Garuda and the Flow Ascension. Okay, after Garuda and Flawless and Shenson, the next skill that we have, it's going to be Echo Pierce. Echo Pierce can be activated by pressing spacebar after using a skill in Awakening. So like that. It does do a stiff CC, and you can basically spam it. So basically, after any skill, you can just use it. Oh, maybe not Black Turtle. Black Turtle didn't work. Oh, there we go. You can use it at the Beast Rampage, like that. You can use it to cancel some skills, as well. So let's see, I do Beast Rampage and I press spacebar to do Echo Pierce, and yeah, I get to cancel Beast Rampage. You can also use Beast Rampage from Preawakening, by pressing uh LMB and RMB. But you have to do it after certain skills. So for example, if I do it after Flash, I can do Flash and I can do LB, RMB, and I can do Echo Pierce. I believe you can also do it after Tilt Stab. So like this, Tilt Stab, and then I can do LB, RMB to go into Awakening and use Echo Pierce. But yeah, Echo Pierce, you can use it for the stiff CC. Depending on your combo, you can use it to do a three chain combo or a three combo CC. To get the stiff midway through your combo. As in terms of damage, it does have minus 70% PvP damage. So if you use it in PvP, don't expect great results. However, in PvE, it can be useful as filler damage in your combo. So it does serve that purpose. But yeah, that's Aqua Pierce. Okay, the next skill that we have is gonna be Moonlight Strike and Flow Full Moon. Moonlight Strike can be activated by pressing WF, and it looks like this. So like this. Then to use the flow to it, flow full moon, just press L and B after using Moonlight Strike, and it looks like this. So it's Moonlight Strike, and that's flow full moon. Moonlight Strike is a skill that is a quick burst movement skill. So if you want to do a quick burst to surprise the enemy, you can do Moonlight Strike. However, do know that Moonlight Strike, the distance for it is pretty short, so it's about that far. So if you want to use it to, let's say, run away, you can uh it won't get you that far just because it's the distance is not that far. Um However, if you want to use it to, let's say you want to use it to quickly surprise and get to your target, just because of how fast it is, you can't use it for that purpose. Um if you use it with the core, Moonlight Strike core, like this, it will actually give Moonlight Strike a stiff CC. So like this. See how that's stiffed? Um, this core is really good and 1v1s just because of how fast Moonlight Strike is. You can quickly dash your opponent and stiff them for that CC. Uh, Another thing to know about Moonlight Strike is that it does have a blade on it, so sometimes you can Moonlight Strike to an opponent and then, yeah, if you get lucky, the blade will kill them. Another thing that people don't use, that a lot of new tamers don't know about Moonlight Strike, is that because of the super armor, you can actually use Moonlight Strike in your super armor rotation. So for example, I can do Moonlight Strike, and I can do Flow for Moon, and you see how I have a nice duration of lingering super armor there. So let me show it to you guys again. So Moonlight Strike, super armor, Flow for Moon, super armor. Just make sure you wait a little bit after using Moonlight Strike to maximize the duration of super armor that you get. So I can do it right away, super fast. I'll get super armor, but it won't be as long if I just waited a little bit. So let me show it to you guys again. So do it. I'm gonna wait the flow full moon. and I get a little extra more time for my super armor. But yeah, you can use it in your super armor rotation as well. Before before I move on to the next skills, I forgot to mention that Flow Full Moon. If you use it, you can actually get the accuracy buff that comes with the basic attack. So for example, if I do this in the Flow Full Moon, L1B, I get my accuracy buff. Uh, so instead of doing three basic attacks, you get the basic attack, or instead of doing Celestial Slam, another option to get your accuracy buff is to do Flow Full Moon into L1B or into Beast Rampage. So Flow Full Moon, Beast Rampage, and I get the accuracy buff. Um, Let me wait for the cooldown. Flow Full Moon, um, into L1B, and then I get the accuracy buff again. But yeah, that's another use for Flow Full Moon. Okay, the next skill that I'm gonna talk about, it's gonna be Howling. I recommend using Howling with Heilang just because it will control Heilang and make Heilang do a stiff attack. Um, if you use it without Heilang, it can be used in PvE, I guess. Just because it has a big AoE. So kind of like similar to Roaring. If you look at Roaring, see how the AoE is really big. Um, with Howling, the AoE is also really big, so you can use it to aggro mobs in PvE. But unlike Roaring, where Roaring can be used when it is on cooldown like this. Howling, if it's on cooldown, so it's on cooldown, I can't use it anymore. Um, but yeah, that's how you just keep that in mind for Howling. To use Howling, you gotta put it on your quick slots. Um, so I put it on my mouse key, and you can't use it by pressing keys. You gotta put it on the quick slot. Um, Another thing to know about Howling is that you can use it from Preawakening to transition into Awakening. And so like this, I use Howling, and now I'm in Awakening. Um, Something that people don't really know about Howling is that you can use Howling as a stun if you are close enough within range, like this, like this. See how he's stunned? Like, however, I don't recommend using Howling for the stun, just because the the animation it's so slow, and for you to get the stun, you gotta actually be pretty close to your target, and so if you use it for the stun, your target is just gonna CC you and you're gonna get killed. So don't use it for the stun. Use it for the long range stiffen that Heiling has, like that. Um, Another thing to know about Howling is that if Heiling is already targeting a target, you don't actually have to face that target for Heiling to do the Heiling stiffen. So for example, I'm gonna do Howling right now, and then see how Heiling did the Heiling stiffen attack from Howling, even though I wasn't facing the target. So yeah, that's another neat trick that you for you to know about Howling. Okay, the next skill or the last skill that is in the Tamer kit is gonna be Leaf Dropping and Flow Gust. Leaf Dropping and Flow Gust can be activated by pressing the directional keys and pressing a shift like this. Um, you can use it to move either forward or not forward. You can either use it to move to the side or to move backwards. If you try to use Leaf Dropping to move forward, it won't work. Um, so yeah, just keep that in mind. You can use leaf dropping from Preawakening to bring you to Awakening. So see, I'm in Preawakening here. I do leaf dropping, and it brings me to Awakening. So I can do backwards, it goes backwards. I can do to the left, it goes to the left. Go to the right, and it goes to the right. Um, and a thing that a lot of new tamers don't take advantage of for leaf dropping is that leaf dropping and flow gust, they have some lingering iframe. So I see a lot of new tamers, they just go and they spam both of the skills at once. Which I guess if you are in a desperate situation, you could do that. However, I recommend that you play it slow and you do leaf dropping. You wait a little bit, then you do the next skill, because there is a small gap of not a small gap, a small window of lingering iframe. See how the skill ends, but the lingering iframe is still kind of there. So practice with your skill. Get the timing for the lingering iframe so that you can fully take advantage of the skill, instead of just spamming it back to back and just deleting your cooldowns. Um, let's see what else about this skill that is important. If you use this skill, you will actually get magic AP buff. Um, so you see, I do it once, I get 10 magic AP. If I do it twice, I get 16 magic AP. So that's leaf trapping, flow gust, and now I get 16 magic AP. So that's another neat thing about leaf trapping that you can also use it to take advantage of is to use it to get that the magic AP. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, another thing about leaf trapping is that you can't use it to move forward. So let's say I want to move forward, right, like this way. I actually can't. Like see, it won't work. So if you want to move forward, you gotta practice with leaf trapping and practice turning the angle of your mouse. So like this, like that. So if you're gonna learn Tamer, make sure you practice with leaf strapping so that you can turn the mouse and turn the angle of your camera so that you can move as smoothly as you want to move without just moving side to side or backwards. So you can move in any direction that you want. So yeah, but that's leaf strapping. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the different cores that you can pick for Awakening Tamer. So if you're new to BDO, every Awakening class, they have a list of core skills that they can pick from, which enhances their skills in Awakening. So for Tamer, your core skills, it is gonna be Beast Rampage, Garuda, uh, Legendary Beast Dance, Moonlight Strike, All Round Spinner, and Echo Pierce. I recommend for Tamer, the core that you pick, you can either be Beast Rampage, Legendary Beast Dance, or Moonlight Strike. So I will go over these first, and I will give you reasonings why these are good core to pick compared to the other ones. So for Beast Rampage, since Beast Rampage is your big hitting ability, if you put a foreguard on it, you can basically hit your target while also not taking damage while your foreguard is up, and you can kind of do like a damage trade where if in large scale you are trying to combo somebody, it's a good way for you to combo them without risking yourself if you have the foreguard up. So Beast Rampage, the core for it is really good. Um, Next we have Legendary Beast Stance. Legendary Beast Stance, the core for it is really also really nice because it's really beginner friendly because all you gotta do is you gotta like press R and B and now you have a nice super armor with the CC that comes with Legendary Beast Stance. Um, there are situations where you might want to pick this skill. For example, let's say you're fighting like a Hashashin, and the Hashashin is gonna block jump you. All you gotta do is you just wait for the animation, then you just press R and B. Now you do a float around yourself, and you're protected. And then the Hashashin is gonna land on your feet, and he's gonna get floated because his block jump isn't protected, and you are protected while doing a float. So that's one of the nice things about doing picking the core for Legendary Beast Dance. It's also a pretty short cooldown, 4 seconds or 2 seconds, which means that you can basically get 3 seconds of just protected CCs. So it's really nice for that reason. However, as you get more comfortable with Tamer, uh, I recommend you picking Beast Rampage over Legendary Beast Chance just because Beast Rampage does so much damage and you want to be able to do all that damage while staying protected. And then lastly, the last core that I recommend is going to be Moonlight Strike. So let me put points into it. Moonlight Strike is it's really nice for 1v1 situations because it does give your Moonlight Strike a stiff, and because Moonlight Strike is a super armor dash and it's also super fast, um, it's a good way for you to catch your opponent. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm trying to catch somebody. So I do Cloud Ride and I can do Moonlight Strike. And if the enemy is not fast enough to react, that will stiff them and I will CC them. So yeah, that's why it's super good in 1v1 situations. However, in large scale situation, I don't recommend you use Moonlight Strike just because you're gonna leave yourself vulnerable when you actually do go in for that combo because you won't have protected damage. Um, then the next one, the next three skills that I'm gonna talk about, I don't really recommend them as the core skill. First, we have Garuda. Garuda is gonna give you a 4 guard if you use Garuda like that. How you see how fast that was? Um, because Garuda, it's like it doesn't do that much damage, and it's like just your follow-up CC skill. Um, Having a foreguard on it serves you no purpose. It's better if you need a foreguard, it's better just put it on Beast Rampage. Next is all around spinner. Putting the core for all around spinner is gonna give it a float. Um, Shoot, I ulted. But yeah, it's gonna give it a float. However, I don't recommend putting it here just for the float, just because you don't really use all around spinner for the CC anyways. Um, so just don't put it for all around spinner. They're just way better options. That's why all around spinner the core for it is not that great. And then lastly we have Echo Pierce. And Echo Pierce gives you super armor. In theory, this should be really nice because it gives you super armor stiff. However, it is actually not that good in practice just because the three other options are just way better. So so yeah, that's why I don't pick Echo Pierce. So if you're looking for some kind of super armor CC, there is Legendary Beast Dance. If you're looking for some kind of foreguard, there is instead of picking Garuda, there is Beast Rampage. And then if you're looking for some kind of protected CC, another protected CC, instead of going for a float, there is a stiff on Moonlight Strike, which is just way better. So yeah, that's why you shouldn't pick Garuda or Round Spinner or Echo Pierce, and you can either pick Beast Rampage for large scale, um, Legendary Beast Dance if you're kind of newish to Tamer and want to just get comfortable, and then Moonlight Strike for 1v1s. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about how to control healings, some of the different ways to control healing. I went over this a little bit when I was talking about the individual skills to kind of show how the individual skills control healing, but now I'm gonna go into more details on how to do that. And just have this entire section dedicated to controlling healing. For anybody that wants to learn how to control healing, they can just jump right to this section instead of watching through the entire video. So the most important thing to know when it comes to controlling healing is that to control healing, you need to know the guard command and know the attack command because these are gonna affect healing the most. So the guard command, if I use it, now using the guard command, it is gonna make it so that healing teleports to the front of you. And whenever healing does an attack, he will do the attack in front of you. So the first, I'm going to talk about the different skills that you use that will affect healing or will cause healing to do a healing skill. So the first skill that we have is Void Lightning, and it is also Air Lightning. So Void Lightning, if you use it in the guard command or in the guard state, healing is going to do a stiff CC, and he's going to do that CC in front of you. Same with Air Lightning. In Lightning, he's going to do a stiff CC, and he's going to do that CC in front of you. An important thing to know here is that if the skill Void Lightning is on cooldown, if healing does even though healing still does the animation, anybody that walks into that AoE will not get CC'd. Next, it is the next skill that will control healing. It is going to be Whiplash. Let me see if I Whiplash unlock. Whiplash. Let me unlock Whiplash. Okay. So Whiplash and the guard state, it is gonna cause healing to teleport you. So like this. If I do Whiplash, healing teleports to me like that. But that only happens in the guard state. It is gonna be a little bit different once I get to the attack state. So let me lock Whiplash. Okay, after Whiplash, we have Roaring. Roaring in the guard state with the guard command, it is gonna make it so that healing does the Roaring CC, but he does it in front of you. However, just like Void, the skill, if it is on cooldown, if you use Roaring, healing will do the animation, but people who walk into the AoE will not get CC'd. Oh, one more thing before I go on, and I forget to tell you guys this, is that if you are in the guard state, it is super important to know that if you get hit, or if healing does get hit, healing will stop doing the CC. So, for example, if let's say your enemy has a bleed, and enemy hits you with the bleed, or hits healing with the bleed, and then let's say you go to do, let's say, a void, Heilang will not do the void because the bleed is gonna tick, and then it will be considered taking damage, and he will slap. So yeah, that's an important thing to know about the guard state. The next skill that will control Heilang, or will cause Heilang to do um, a CC, is going to be Surging Tide. And Surging Tide, when used in a guard state, it will cause Heilang to do the roaring CC, or basically the roaring animation. After Surging Tide, we have Absorb Heilang. Absorb Heilang is also another way for you to kind of control the location of Heilang. Basically, it is gonna make so that Heilang teleports you. So like this, you basically just gonna teleport it to me. Oh, you bugged out a little bit there, but basically Absorb Heilang makes so that Heilang teleports you. After Absorb Heilang, we have your Awakening ebuff. This one basically makes it so that Heilang, I believe he also makes so that Heilang teleports you. Let's see. Oh, come on. Oh shoot, I think I have it locked. Oh, okay, let's try it. Like this. Nope. Okay, I guess he didn't teleport to me. He just ran to me, but it's basically another way for you to kind of control Heilang. It does make Heilang invincible according to the skill. So I guess it makes it that Heilang won't take damage, and Heilang can't be CC'd as well. So that's another way for you to kind of control Heilang with the Heilang Berserk skill. After Heilang Berserk, we have Beast Rampage. Beast Rampage, when you are in the guard state or the guard command, it makes it so that Heilang will teleport to you. Come on. Like that. Makes the Heilang teleport to you. Same with Legendary Beast Dance. Same with All Around Spinner. And then after that, after that we have Howling. Howling, when in the guard state, it is the same as the attack state. It basically makes it that you send Heilang out, and he does a stiff CC. Okay, now I'm gonna go over the attack command, and go over how being in an attack attack command affects some of your different ways to control Heilang. So first off, the attack command itself, if you use it, Heilang does a stiff CC. If he hits the target, it gets stiffened. If you use the attack command while Heilang is in the void animation, so I'm gonna do void, cancel it. Then I'm gonna do attack. Heilang does the charging animation, but he is basically under the ground. So it is a little bit harder for the enemy to see him. So that is something to know about the attack command as well. The attack command, when used with the skill Void Lightning, makes it so that Heilang does the pet CC at range. So like this, Heilang does the pet CC at range at that target. The same with Air Lightning. Heilang does the Void pet CC at range. Same with actually no, not Whiplash. Whiplash, when used with the attack command, it makes it so that Heilang will either teleport to the target or he will walk to the target. So if I do that, come on Heilang. See, Heilang switches target, and I do that, Heilang switches target. If I do that, Heilang switches target. Sometimes he teleports to the target, but it's super random. This time he's just choosing to walk. But yeah, that's how Whiplash is affected by the attack command. Next we have Surging Tide. Surging Tide, when used with the attack command, causes Heilang to do the CC that chases his target. So for example, I'm going to show you guys here. That CC right there that he just did, it's going to chase the target. So Heilang will teleport to the target, and he'll do that CC, and then that CC will chase the target. Sometimes, if you get lucky, Heilang will teleport to the back of the target or to the side of the target, so that they can't block the incoming CC if they are facing you and not facing Heilang. So like right there, he was behind the target. After Surging Tide, we have Roaring. Roaring, when used in the attack mode, will cause Heilang to do the Roaring CC, but at range, like that. Same with the Awakening skills. So for example, Beast Rampage, when used with the attack command, will cause Heilang to teleport to the target and attack the target at range. Same with legendary beast stance. Same with all around spinner. And yeah, that's basically how you control Heilang. Let's see. Before I go on to the next topic, the follow command, just a quick reminder, is basically makes it that you can ride Heilang as a mount. But if you are in combat, the follow command follows the same rules as the guard command. The help command is a command that makes it so that Heilang will disobey you, and he just goes and does his own thing. However, the use for it, I guess, is if you are trying to protect your horse. If your horse gets attacked, if Heilang is in the help command, he will go and protect your horse. But yeah, that's basically the different ways for you to control Heilang and using different skills and using different commands. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about some of the ways to do cancels for Tamer. So some skill cancellation. Some of these won't be true cancels. So it will be more like a smooth transitioning from one skill to another. Um, for example, when I talk about Flash coming up next, it won't be true cancels. It will be more like smooth transitioning from the Flash skill to the next skill, just so that your combos and your playstyle won't be clunky. It will be smooth. So. But yeah, but there also we'll talk about true cancels, so that you can do cancels for certain skills that are pretty important. So first, I'm gonna talk about Flash. Flash, you can do Flash into Bolt, which is a smooth transition. To do this, you just hold Flash or S L and B, wait for the end of the animation, and then do Shift L and B. Um, so I'm gonna say it again, super slowly. So S L and B for the wait for the end of the animation, then Shift L and B afterwards. And if you do it super fast, it should look something like this, where it's super smooth, like that. So as soon as one skill ends, the next one starts. Basically, super fast, super smooth. Um, Another one that you can do, it's gonna be Flash into Upper Claw. So I'm gonna do it slowly at first. So S L and B, and then as soon as the animation ends, Upper Claw, S R and B, like that. If you do it super fast, it should look something like this. Yep. So just basically wait for the end of the animation, then just go right into upper class, and it's a smooth skill from one to the next. I can also do flash into echo pierce. Echo pierce is the awakening skill, so I can do flash, and then I can do LMB RMB right after the animation ends, and I can go into echo pierce. So let me show it to you guys. Flash, and then LMB RMB. Yep. If you do it super fast, it should look something similar to what I just did. So like this, like that. Um, Another one that's super easy is you can do flash like this, and then press spacebar to do trample. That's another way to do a nice transition from one skill to the next, is to use trample. So to do it, I'll say it again: S L M B, and then spacebar at the end of the animation. Next, I'm gonna talk about the bolt jolt cancel. Now this is a true cancel, like what I was just showing you guys with the flash stuff. Um, so to do the bolt jolt cancel, you do bolt, so Shift L and B, and then hold jolt for jolt, so Shift L and B, hold it. You hit 2 times, then you tap Shift Space for legendary beast power, and then you tap Shift L and B again. And if you do it fast enough, it should look like something like this, like that. So I'll show it to you guys again. Bolt jolt, legendary beast power, bolt jolt. Basically, just hold down Shift L and B, wait for the 2 hits, tap spacebar, and then don't let go of Shift L and B, like this, like that. And this cancel is pretty important. Uh, Especially if you're gonna go play Suck Tamer later on, it's super important for Suck Tamer. But also for Awakening Tamer, it does help you do some filler damage. So it is a nice cancel to learn and to put into memory, like that. Another bolt cancel um, is that you can do not you can do what's it called? Not true cancels, but like smooth transitioning. You can do Similar, basically similar to what Flash, I was showing with Flash. You can do bolt into Flash, or you can do like bolt into upper claw. Um, oh, not upper claw. If you do actually if you do bolt and jolt into upper claw, it is not a smooth transition. So let me show it to you guys. So if I do bolt, jolt, and I do upper claw, you see how I have to kind of wait for the animation of jolt to end. So doing bolt, jolt into upper claw is not a smooth transition. So keep that in mind. Also, if you do jolt, you can't do tree climb, which is also another thing to keep in mind. So let me show you guys. Bolt, jolt, and I can't tree climb until the animation is over. So yeah, also some of the stuff to keep in mind for the bolt, jolt stuff. Um, Next, I'm gonna talk about void or void lightning. So some of the cancels for lightning for void lightning is you can do void lightning into fearful trembling. And then it's gonna do a really nice cancel for void lightning. So to do it, I'm gonna do it slowly at first. I press Q, and I press Shift Q. But make sure you do it before the animation ends, otherwise it won't work. So let me wait for the cooldown. I'm gonna do Q into Shift Q, and then I get the cancel. Uh, but do know that if the skill of Void Lightning is on cooldown, you won't be able to do the cancel. So let's see, like that. See how I couldn't do the cancel because the skill was on cooldown. So yeah, once again, the cancel for Void with Fearful Trembling is Q into Shift Q. Then make sure you do it fast because the animation for once the super armor animation for Void is over, you can't do Shift Q anymore. Another Another cancel that you can do for Void is to use Resonance. However, you have to use Resonance with the keys and not from the hotbar. Let me show you guys. So I'm gonna do Void, and I'm gonna try to do it from the hotbar Resonance. See how that didn't work. However, if I do it from pressing Shift X, right, yeah, Shift X, it should work. So I do Void, do Shift X, I cancel it, and it goes directly into Resonance. Another one, that you know, this one is super important because you can do it even if the skill is on cool, even if Void is on cooldown. So you can do Void, Bolt into WW. So I'm gonna do it slowly for you guys. Void, Bolt, and then WW. If you do it fast enough, it's really important if you do it really fast because you can trigger your pet CC without being stuck in place. So I can do Void, Bolt, and then go right to the next skill. So Void, Bolt, and then WW, like that. Another one you can do is you can do Void into Bolt into Legendary Beast Power. So Void, and then Bolt, and then Legendary Beast Power. So um, Q, S, L, and B, Shift Space. So make sure you do it fast. So slowly at first, Q, Shift L and B, S, and then Shift Space. And now if I do it fast, like this, um, you do basically cancel Void right away, and you can go into Legendary Beast Power. And these cancels are so important, super important, because you can use it while Void is on cooldown, unlike the Fearful Trembling one, where you can't use it if Void is on cooldown. Another one that you can do for Void is you can do Void into Bolt into Leaf Dropping. So Q, SOMB, and then SD or SA or SD. So I'll show you guys again. Q, Bolt, and then Leaf Dropping. And if you do it really fast, it should look like this, like that. And it's important to kind of practice these cancels just so that you have many options to use when you do need those different kind of options. Okay, so I kind of forgot to talk about this when I was talking about Void Lightning, but Air Lightning also has some things that you should also take into consideration when you use it. So Air Lightning, I'm going to show you guys, it has super armor, but before your feet touch the ground when you do the jump, you actually lose that super armor. So if you watch carefully, Air Lightning, and then before my feet touches the ground, right pretty close to the end, I actually lose that super armor. So that is a gap that is punishable. However, I'm going to teach you guys how to do this cancel that will make it so that you the chance of you being punished is less. So what you do is you're gonna do ear lightning, and then right after ear lightning, you're gonna do legendary beast power, and then it should get rid of that gap at the end. So do ear lightning, then shift space. Then it should get rid of that gap. So I'll do it slowly for you guys. So let me just wait for the cooldown real quick. So WWQ shift space, just like that. And then another thing that you can do to make this an even better kind of cancel is so you can do ear lightning into legendary beast power into fearful trembling. So it's kind of like throwing your pet CC out for that stiffen, then throwing out the stun CC from your fearful trembling to try to get as many CC attempt in as possible to try to maybe catch your opponent off guard. So it's gonna look like this, like that. So what I did there, let me wait for the cooldown again so that I can show you guys. Okay, so I did WWQ shift space shift Q, and that's basically yeah, that's basically a way for you to kind of get rid of that gap that is in the skill Ear Lightning, so that you won't be punished whenever you use Ear Lightning towards the end of the skill where there is that gap. So I hope that helps. Okay, the next cancels or the next the next cancels I'm gonna talk about, it's gonna be Scratch. So Scratch, you can kind of do the same things that you did with Flash. Not true cancels, but smooth transitionings from one skill to another. So for example, Flash into Flash is a smooth transition, or Flash into Bolt is a smooth transition. Um, Stuff like that. If you try to do Flash into Upper Claw, it is not as smooth. You kind of have to wait a little bit for the animation. So keep that in mind. Uh, so I'm gonna talk about two important things for Scratch that it's important to know. If you do forward scratch, this scratch, forward scratch, and you try to do leaves right afterwards, forward scratch into leaves, you see how I had to kind of wait for the animation to end before I can do leaves. So so yes, just keep in mind that you can't forward scratch into leaves and be smooth about it. It's you gotta wait for the animation. Same if I want to do scratch into WW, forward scratch into WW, I had to wait for the animation to end. Um, but yeah, let's see if it works with Tree Climb. Same with Tree Climb, you see how I have to wait for scratch into Tree Climb. I have to wait. Um, However, if you don't want to wait, you can do forward scratch into Legendary Beast Power, and then you don't have to wait. Yeah, so I'll go over that again. So you do forward scratch, so you WW RMB shift space. So slowly, WW scratch shift space. And if you do it really fast, it's like this, like that. Um, but yeah, this is a good cancel for if you want to move around for one of your mobility combos. You can do WW scratch, keep moving like this, like that. It's a good way to get around. Instead of just doing WW shift space, which is kind of slow, you can do the scratch cancel, which makes it a lot faster. Okay, and then next we have Whiplash, and Lightning of Earth, which I won't be covering for any of the cancels, just because you won't be using Whiplash or Lightning of Earth, basically at all as an Awakening Tamer, so there is no point to learning the cancels or the smooth transitionings for those skills. Um, Next we have Thorburn. Thorburn is the new skill, one of the newer skills that they kind of changed for Tamer. Um, and Thorburn, some of the smooth transitions you can use is you can do the same thing as you do with Flash. So you can do, for example, Thorburn into Flash, and it's like a nice smooth transition from one skill to another. Where you can do, let's say, Thorburn into Bolt, kind of like that. Those are like nice way to do smooth transitioning, like that. Okay. For true cancels for Thorburn, you can do a true cancel. You can do is Thorburn into legendary beast power, so torque burn, SRMB, and then shift space. So I'll show it to you guys really fast, like this, like that. See how I kind of cancel the animation before I finished? Okay, so slowly at first, shift RMB, and then shift space. And now to do it at actual speed, it's gonna be like this. You can also cancel torque burn with WW. So torque burn into WW. Now to do it in real time, like this, like that. Um, Another thing to know about torque burn is that you can chain it with surging tide to get a nice long super arm. I mean a nice long forward guard. So torque burn, surging tide, and then C swap, and you get a nice long forward guard. So again, so shift RMB, shift F, C, like that. Okay. Another cancel for torque burn is to do leaf trapping. So for example, I can do shift RMB and then shift D or shift A. And now to do it in real speed, it's gonna look like this, like that. So that's how you do some of the different cancels for torque burn. Um, you can't. So a lot of skills you can cancel by pressing grab, but for torque burn you can't cancel it with grab. So just keep that in mind. For example, I'm gonna try it, and I can't cancel it with a grab. See? Okay. So yeah. Um, the next skill that you can cancel is you can cancel with I'm gonna show you guys how to do the fearful trembling cancel. So if you do fearful trembling, you can cancel it by doing shift space, legendary beast power, instead of having to wait for that animation. So like this, shift Q, shift space. That's how you cancel the animation for legendary beast power so that you are not stuck sitting there. Um, I believe you can also do it with leaf dropping. Let's try it. Oh, maybe not. So it won't work. It doesn't work with leaf dropping, but it will work with legendary beast power. So shift Q, sh shift Q, shift space. So that's fearful trembling cancel. Next, it's gonna be the upper class cancels. Not true cancels, but more like smooth transitions. So you can do upper claw into flash, kind of like that. You can also do stuff like upper claw into bolt. Um, but yeah, something to know is that you cannot do upper claw into echo pierce. So you can do, for example, like that. You can't do echo pierce afterwards. So just keep that in mind if you are trying to do upper claw into echo pierce. It won't not work. Next, I'm gonna talk about how to cancel roaring. Uh, this is roaring. Roaring can be cancelled by using either WW, your evasion skill. So you do roaring and then WW like this. Or you can do roaring into leaf dropping. Roaring, leaf dropping. Roaring, leaf dropping. You so no, an important thing to know is that you cannot do roaring, and you cannot cancel it with legendary beast power. You can cancel most things with legendary beast powers, but you can't cancel roaring with it. So for example, like this. See how I tried to cancel it? It didn't work like that. So yeah, keep that in mind. You can't cancel roaring with legendary beast power. Um, Next, I'm gonna talk about legendary beast power. So legendary beast power can be is this skill shift space. You cancel basically almost every single skill and the Tamer kit with legendary beast power. And it will be a true cancel. For example, like I do upper claw. See how I kind of started the animation for upper claw, but I canceled it right away with legendary beast power. Or the same if I do, let's say, resonance. I cancel the animation of resonance right away with legendary beast power. So legendary beast power is one of your most important skills for canceling. It does a true cancel. So for example, I can do let's say fearful trembling, and I can cancel right away with legendary beast powers. That's a true cancel. Basically, it cancels the animation. Um, so that you don't have to set through the whole thing. Uh, but the nice thing about legendary beast power is that you can also cancel legendary beast power with other skills. For example, if I don't want to do the whole dash animation, I can do legendary beast power, and I can do fearful trembling to do the cancel. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about how to do cancels with legendary beast power, so you can do like smooth transitions. So like I showed you, shift space, shift Q. Um, so again, legendary beast power. Oops, let me wait for the cooldown. So legendary beast power, fearful trembling. That's a way to do it. Um, you can also do stuff like legendary beast power into WW, the evasion skill. So like this. You see how I can kind of cancel it early, like that. You can also do legendary beast power into tree climb. So shift space, WF. Okay, so shift space, WF. Now let me do it what it would look like in real time. So like this. You can also do legendary beast power into leaf trapping. So shift space, and then shift A or shift D. So kind of like this in real time, like that, or like this, like that. So shift space into shift A or shift D. Another cancel is you can do legendary beast power into your grab. So shift space and then E. Um, so let me wait for the cooldown so I can show it to you guys in real time. Okay, so I can do legendary beast power into E. So like that. Um, and then uh, yeah, I think I already showed you guys the legendary beast power into fearful trembling. So yeah, and that's how you do some of the cancels for legendary beast power. So to summarize it, because that was a lot, you can cancel basically almost every single skill with legendary beast power, like a 2 cancel. So like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. See how I've been canceling basically almost every single skill with legendary beast power. And then the nice thing about legendary beast power is that you can also do the reverse, where you can cancel legendary beast power early with like basically a lot of different skills. Um, like this. But yeah, that's basically the different legendary beast power cancels. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the evasion cancels. So WW cancels. You can do uh, there's um there's two main cancels that you should know about. So you can do WW into scratch into legendary beast power. I kind of showed this to you a little bit earlier, but this is so that you makes so that your mobility is it like comes out a lot faster when you do scratch into legendary beast power instead of just doing legendary beast power. So WW scratch and then legendary beast power like that. Um, you can also cancel your WW evasion with your grab. So let me show you guys. So I can do WW and I can midway through the grab and the hop. I can press E and I get the grab. So to do it slowly, W W, and then just midway through your WW, just tap E, like this. Just tap E. Okay. The next one it's gonna be residence. The cancel for residence is you can do either legendary beast power, which I talked about, or you can do um preferred trembling. So to do it, you can press resonance and then shift Q like that. Um, Let me wait for the cooldown so I can show it to you guys in real time what it will look like. Uh, Come on. Okay. So if you do it in real time, if you want to do it super fast, it would look like this. See how the resonance animation barely went off, and then you cancel it right away with fearful trembling. So that's how that's another way for you to cancel resonance. Okay, next we're gonna talk about the awakening cancels. So awakening is pretty cool in that basically almost every single skill can be canceled by either your Q block, your leaves dropping, legendary beast power, or by echo pierce. So um, for example, if I would say I want to do beast rampage, I can cancel it with my Q block. Um, but first, let me talk about Cloud Ride first. So Cloud Ride, you can cancel Cloud Ride with pressing F or by pressing Moonlight Strike. For example, Cloud Ride and then F, and I drop down like that. Let me wait for the cooldown so I can show it to you guys with Moonlight Strike. So SF and then W. Whoops, I forgot to press R and B. So SF, R and B, WF, and then you can cancel it early. If you don't want to do Moonlight Strike and you just want to land, you can just tap F and then you would just land. Okay, next, let's talk about Beast Rampage. So Beast Rampage, you can cancel it by pressing Q, so S, L, and B for Beast Rampage, and then Q to cancel it. So if I do it really fast, it would be like this. See how basically I can cancel it right away. You can also cancel Beast Rampage with Legendary Beast Power, like this. So to do it slowly, S, L, and B, shift space. S, L, and B, shift space. And if you do it really fast, like that. Next, it's gonna be uh, leaf trapping. So if you want to cancel Beast Rampage with leaf trapping, uh, you can do Beast Rampage to leaf trapping. So to do it slowly, S, L, and B, Shift D or Shift A. So I'll show it to you guys again. S, L, and B, Shift A or Shift D. And then to do it in real time, it's like this, like that. And then lastly, it's gonna be Beast Rampage to Echo Pierce. To do Echo Pierce and Awakening, press spacebar. So slowly, it's gonna be S, L, and B, spacebar. So S, L, and B, spacebar. And if you do it quickly, it's gonna look like this. So S, L, and B, spacebar. So that's different ways for you to cancel Beast Rampage. Basically, the skills uh, Intimidation, uh, Garuda, Flow Ascension, Legendary Beast Dance, uh, Flow Full Moon, All Round Spinner, Flow Soaring Strike. All of these, they can basically be cancelled like how you would cancel Beast Rampage. Uh, so next, I'm gonna talk about Moonlight Strike or Moonlight Dash. Is it? Let's see, Moonlight Strike. Okay, so Moonlight Strike, um, it would flow smoothly into um, the it will flow smoothly into some of the cancels that Beast Rampage has. So for example, I can do Moonlight Strike into Legendary Beast Power, and it flows smoothly from one skill to the next. But if you want to do like a true cancel, um, you have to do Moonlight Strike into a Q block like this. If you want to do a true cancel, you won't notice it too much. It's because the skill is so fast that even if you try to do a true cancel, because of input lag and stuff like that, um, you would just the animation would end before you can actually try to do a cancel. So yeah, so Moonlight Strike into Q. So uh, WF and then Q if you want to try to cancel um, Moonlight Strike. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about the leaves cancel for leaves dropping. That is pretty important because it is one of the cancels that lets you transition into pre-awakening. So it looks something like this, like this. Let me get into awakening, like this, like that. Basically, so what I did is I did leaf dropping into um, trample, and then into legendary beast power. Now, if you do it super fast, you will look like what I just showed you earlier, like this, like that, where you basically don't see the trample animation. This cancel is pretty good if you want to get back into pre-awakening, but because it is pretty high APM it cancels, most of the time people just do both to get into pre-awakening. But yeah, I'll show you guys the cancel one more time. So slowly at first, um, you do leaf dropping, trample by pressing space, legendary beast power by pressing shift space. And to do it quickly, you do like this. That's what it looks like quickly. Okay. And then I guess something that you should also know is that leaves cannot be canceled with Echo Pierce like that because you will go into trample like that. So most skills in Awakening can be canceled by Echo Pierce, which uses the spacebar command, the spacebar key. But because trample also uses the spacebar key, you will instead go into trample instead of Echo Pierce. So that's also something to keep in mind. Um, Another thing about the new skill is legendary beast dance echo is that the one of the ways or one of the only ways to really cancel it is to do legendary beast power. For example, let me do this. Nope, not turtle. Okay, so let me do dragon. If when I do dragon, I want to cancel it with Q. You see how I can't really cancel it with Q block. However, I can cancel it with legendary beast power. So like this, like that. Or let me do tiger. So tiger, and I try to Q block. How it doesn't really work. However, if I do legendary beast power, oh black, let's try that again. See how that's the way to cancel it. Um, the thing about the new skill, legendary beast dance echo, is that if you do the turtle form, you can't be canceled like at all. So see how I try to cancel it? It doesn't really work. You got to do the whole jumping animation. Um, you can also can't cancel with like a Q block. And then lastly is gonna be Celestial Slam. Celestial Slam is the skill that can't be cancelled at all. No matter what you do. So Celestial Slam, Legendary Beast Power doesn't work. Gotta wait for the whole animation. Um, Celestial Slam, Leaf Dropping doesn't work. Gotta wait for the whole animation. With Celestial Slam with Q Block. Whoops, that Celestial Slam, Q Block doesn't work. I gotta wait for the whole animation. So yeah, that's basically goes over most of the cancels or most of the important cancels and the ways to do smooth transitioning from one skill to another in the Tamer in Preawakening and in Awakening. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about different ways to swap from Preawakening to Awakening and how to swap from Awakening to Preawakening. So the first thing that I'm gonna show you guys is how to do a C swap. And basically to do a C swap, all you do is you press C like that and you C swap. Um, but basically what I just did there, C swap, that thing, that is considered a slow C swap because you're basically switching to your awakening weapon, but it's super slow. And I wouldn't recommend doing that in combat because it's an easy way for you to get punished. Um, so what you can do is you can do what is considered a fast C swap. And for tamers, there are several ways to do this. Or you can do a C swap after WW, so like this, like that. So I'll show it to you guys again. So just use the WW skill and then press C, and then you can C swap And you notice that I swapped to Awakening, but I also got a forward guard while C swapping. You can do the same thing after you do tree climb. So tree climb, press C, and you get the forward guard C swap. You can do this skill. You can do the C swap after certain skills that has forward guard and Preawakening to get like a nice long chain of forward guard. So for example, Surging Tide, C swap, and I get a nice long forward guard. So I'll show it to you guys again. So you do Shift F, wait a little bit, press C, and then you get the nice forward guard. You don't have to wait. You can C swap right away, but I like to wait just so I can get the nice forward guard. Same thing with Thorper. You can do Shift R and B, press C, and then you can switch to Awakening with a nice forward guard. Um, Another way, besides using C swap, is to use abilities that will bring you to Awakening. So for Tamer, the main way is to use leaf dropping. These two skills, leaf dropping, and you do that by pressing Shift D or Shift A or Shift S, like that, and that will bring you to Awakening. Besides those skills, there's also the skill Intimidation. This skill, Intimidation, for you to use it, you have to put it on the hotbar if you want to use it from Preawakening to get to Awakening. And you use it by just pressing the button that you assign it to. For me, it's the number 1 key, and I just press the number 1, and I switch to Awakening. Um, Besides that, there's also all-around spinner. Um, so you can do Shift R and B after certain skills in Preawakening, and it will do all-around spinner and bring you to Awakening. However, do keep in mind that if you have the skill Thorburn, where is it? Where is Thorburn? Thorburn right here. So Thorburn also uses the keys Shift R and B. So sometimes Thorburn will activate instead of all round spinner. So just keep that in mind if you wanna use all round spinner to switch to Awakening. So an example of using all round spinner to switch to Awakening is you can do both Jolt, Shift R and B, and then see how I went to Awakening um using all round spinner. You can do the same using Flash. Let me just wait for the cooldown. So I do Flash and then all round spinner. Let's see. That time it didn't work. For some reason it triggered Thorburn instead. So it's kind of like a roll of the dice. It's whichever skill you get. Sometimes you get all round spinner. Sometimes you get Thorburn. Let's see if I can get I can get all round spinner to work. Come on. Oh nope, I can't. Okay. But yeah, you can use all round spinner to get to Awakening depending on the skill and depending on, I guess, how lucky you get with the RNG. Um, Next we have the skill Cloud Ride or Cloud Stomping, and you basically click SF, and then it brings you to Awakening. Um, Another skill that I was talking about earlier with Echo Pierce. Um, so you can also put Echo Pierce on the hotbar if you want to go to Awakening. You can just click Echo Pierce, and it brings you to Awakening. But if you don't want to do that, you can also do Echo Pierce after certain skills. So, for example, Bolt Jolt, then I can do LMB, RMB, and it brings me to Awakening. So I'll show it to you guys again. Shift LMB, and then click RMB after, and it brings you to Awakening. You can do it with other stuff um, like Flash. So do S LMB and then hold LMB and then click RMB at the end, and it basically also brings you to Awakening. Um, but yeah, those are some of the different ways to swap from Preawakening to Awakening. Next, I'm gonna show you guys how to swap from Awakening to Preawakening. So the easiest way is to do a bolt into a WW, or to do a bolt into a Legendary Beast Power. So I'll show it to you guys again. I'm in Awakening. I do Shift L and B to do bolt. Then I quickly press WW, the evasion skill, and I cancel the bolt, and I go into Preawakening. So in real time, it's gonna look like this, like that, like that. Um, Another way is to do um, bolt, so shift L&B, and then shift space. So like this, like that. Uh, Another way to switch to pre-awaken is to do the trample swap. So I'm in awakening now, and I do leaf dropping into a trample into a shift space. I kind of show that cancel in the cancel category, so if you want to get more details on that, go back and check that part out. But yeah, that's another way to swap to pre-awakening from awakening. You might have noticed that I didn't talk about C swapping from awakening to pre-awakening because C swapping from awakening to pre-awakening, you don't get the you don't get the forward guard, so um, that's a little bit risky. So I personally do not do it. I know some tamers do like to do it. They will do um, a C swap into legendary beast power into pre-awakening. You kind of like get rid of that gap. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I haven't really practiced this, so I can't show it to you guys. Come on. Oh, didn't work. All right. But yeah, I've seen some tamers with a C swap, and then do legendary beast power right after to swap. But I don't really use it, so I don't have that practice. Um, let's see. Other ways to get into pre-awaken, is you can use some of the pre-awaken skills. Like you can use the skill Resonance. So you can use Resonance, and that's gonna bring you back into pre-awaken. You can use Jolt Sap, and that's also gonna bring you back into pre-awaken, like that. Um, let's see, what else? Um, I think besides that, those are the main ways to get into pre-awaken from awakening. Oh, one more that I forgot. Another way to switch to awakening from pre-awakening is to use a skill Howling, and you basically just click it and you switch to awakening. But yeah, those are the different ways to get from awakening to pre-awakening and from pre-awakening to awakening. Okay, next I'm gonna show you guys how to stay protected as a tamer. Basically how to do super armor rotations, how to do different kinds of iframe rotations, just so that you can stay protected. The first thing is that you have your WW, which is your iframe, spammable iframe. It is a gap iframe, so there is a gap in it. Um, Next we have your tree climb, which is your gapless iframe and pre-awakening. Then you have leaves dropping, which is your uh, gapless iframe and awakening. And then after that, you do have skills like um, resonance, fearful trembling, cloud ride, which are all basically super armor skills. Also moonlight strike into flow for moon. Those are basically super armor skills. And if you chain those skills in a certain pattern, you can basically stay infinitely protected. Infinitely protected. The only downside is that you can't really attack. As soon as you start attacking, you do lose the protection. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, so the super armor rotation combo, it goes something like this. So you do leaf dropping into Legendary Beast Power, into Moonlight Strike, into Flow for Moon, into into Flow Gust, into Legendary Beast Power, into Leaf Trapping, into Resonance, into Legendary Beast Power, into Fearful Trembling, into Legendary Beast Power, into Scratch, into Legendary Beast Power, into Tree Climb, into WW, into Legendary Beast Power, into Cloud Ride, and then you rinse and repeat. Uh, if you do it really fast, it's gonna be almost a gapless way of staying protected. Let me see if I can show it to you guys in real time. So like this. Yeah, it's gonna look something like that. I'll show a clip of me doing this basically in Heido where I basically went from like the beginning of Heido all the way to like the end of Heido where I basically stay protected the whole time.